The great wave of magical technology. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 651 Arrival. Start the boat, let's go. Tobias Allen said in high spirits. Wow. The magic boat started immediately and broke through the air. The group of Zashentian disciples held a small banquet on the boat, enjoying themselves all the way. For them, this action was just a trip, and it was very relaxing. Most people did not expect that this banquet would be the last one in their lives, and they would stay in Yunfan's fiefdom forever. The sun has just risen in the Dundrum Canyon, and the morning glow covers the earth, making the canyon seem to be covered with a layer of gorgeous gauze. The 16 sharpshooters are all in place. Sniper rifles are very different from ordinary guns. A group of people have already finished a round of drills and are resting. These sharpshooters have confidence and expectations in their eyes. If they didn't believe it at first, now they have enough confidence to fight the demigod. Of course, although it was just a sneak attack, Yunfan said directly, if you 16 cooperate well, the demigod will definitely die. His tone was full of killing and expectation. Such a sniper rifle. If the guys from Snow God Mountain dare to come, it's a good time to test their firepower. Not long after Yunfan finished speaking, Yunfan looked up and found a huge ship coming towards them. Yunfan's face changed slightly. The magic ship of Snow God Mountain. Habakkuk continued. The magic ship of Snow God Mountain? Are there any heavy weapons on it? Yunfan continued to ask. Heavy weapons? That is, whether it can be directly attacked from a distance. Do you mean to attack directly like your magic cannon? Yes. Really not. In this way, we won't shoot it down. After we deal with the people from Snow God Mountain, this magic ship will be mine. Yunfan said in a calm tone. Actually, I have wanted to get one for a long time, but my old man doesn't allow it. Habakkuk pouted. Zephania Archibald and others stood at the front of the magic ship and watched from afar. The small canyon of Dundrum in the distance was as peaceful as ever. Habakkuk, long time no see. I wonder who is stronger among us now. Zephania Archibald said in a voice that only he could hear. Brother Zephania Archibald, what did you say? Tobias Allen did not hear what Zephania Archibald said, thinking that he was telling him to do something, and asked. Nothing. Zephania Archibald said lightly. The front is the Dundrum Canyon, where we found the mithril, but from here, we can't see anything. Tobias Allen pointed to the front and said. Haha, finally here. Suddenly, a group of disciples from the Snow God Mountain stood up and walked over. They were about to get some mithril. They were excited, because this was mithril, but these people did not surpass the position where Zephania Archibald stood. They all stood behind Zephania Archibald and looked into the distance. Let's land first. Zephania Archibald said calmly. Okay. Whoosh. The magic ship swooped down and soon landed in the wilderness not far from the small canyon. A group of disciples of the Snow God Mountain looked at it expectantly with a fiery look on their faces. 16 Hunter Gods hide, obey my orders, and be ready to attack at any time. The code name of our mission this time is Killing Gods. Yunfan said calmly to the 16 snipers behind him. After hearing Yunfan's words, the 16 snipers quickly took action and quickly hid in the small canyon. Friends of the Snow God Mountain, you are really here. Yunfan's voice came out. Who? You came to my fiefdom like this? Have you asked my master? This is bullying at home. How can Yunfan tolerate it? You are Dante, the king of one word shoulder to shoulder. Tobias Allen's pupils shrank, and then he frowned and said, This guy actually dared to face our Snow God Mountain directly. Is there any conspiracy? Tobias Allen, you are really a coward. What conspiracy can a small empire king of one word shoulder to shoulder have? Chesterton Abraham said sarcastically. Chesterton Abraham. If you don't speak, no one will think you're dumb. Tobias Allen glared at Chesterton Abraham fiercely. Chesterton Abraham said indifferently again. He's just a kid. Killing him is like killing a dog. But it's rare for this little one-word king to have such courage. Another half-god of the Snow God Mountain laughed. It's hard to say whether he is brave or ignorant. A voice responded. I'm afraid there are some traps secretly set up around Dundrum, said one person. As soon as the man finished speaking, another person snorted coldly, it will boost others' ambitions and destroy your own prestige. What kind of traps can there be in such a place? Just go over and push it. While the people from the Snow God Mountain were talking, Yunfan and Habakakenoch had already walked towards them. When Habakakenoch saw the people in Snow God Mountain, his face suddenly changed slightly, as if he had seen a ghost, and he muttered in a low voice, how is it possible? How could this kid appear in Snow God Mountain? Zephania Archibald had also seen Habakakenoch not far away, and a complex expression flashed in his eyes, some nostalgia and some anger. Habakakenoch, it's been a long time since we last met. I didn't expect that we would meet in this way. Zephania Archibald really didn't expect that we would meet in this way. Everyone present didn't expect that Zephania Archibald and Habakakenoch actually knew each other, and from the tone of the two people, it can be felt that the relationship between the two is extraordinary. Yunfan felt a very strange breath on Zephania Archibald's body. That breath was somewhat similar to the breath on Habakakenoch's body, but it seemed out of place, as if something had been distorted. This aura. Have you felt it too? Habakakenoch said to Yunfan with a wry smile. You guessed right. Zephania Archibald was once a member of my Sword God Mountain. He joined earlier than me, so he can be considered my senior brother, but his talent is slightly worse than mine. Everyone present was stunned. They never thought that Zephania Archibald was once a member of Sword God Mountain. Chapter 652. Plan to show off your power. As the convener of this sect mission, he was naturally the most popular. He talked with other people everywhere, and he was quite famous in the Snow God Mountain. Tobias Allen, we have been waiting here for such a long time. Are all the people who should come here? Should we leave? At this time, some people could not wait and asked. Wait a moment, Zephania Achi. Before Tobias Allen finished speaking, everyone looked in one direction and saw a three-headed hellhound slowly approaching in the distance. The guy who was complaining about playing for too long just now did not dare to say anything, because next to the three-headed hellhound, there was a sturdy figure standing next to the three-headed hellhound, and in an instant, a domineering aura came from that sturdy figure. Tobias Allen, you actually invited that person here? Several people present couldn't help but change color, and even didn't want to mention Zephania Archibald's name, which showed that Zephania Archibald's reputation in Snow God Mountain was not very good. Zephania Archibald was famous for his bad temper in Snow God Mountain. Even if ordinary elders made him unhappy, he would teach them a lesson. Several people present were originally troublemakers, and were very dissatisfied with Zephania Archibald, so they challenged Zephania Archibald, but in the end they were beaten to a pulp by Zephania Archibald. This time, when senior brother Zephania Archibald comes, even if people from Sword God Mountain come, they will return empty-handed. In fact, we are just sharing a share of the credit. Some people have already started to flatter him. The last time I saw you, you were already a great figure in Snow God Mountain. Now you must be even stronger, and the day of becoming a god is not far away, right? They all said and flattered. After all, the Zephania Archibald in front of them was a very ruthless figure. His strength alone was not something that ordinary demigods could resist. If his sword skills were added, killing ordinary demigods like them would be like killing chickens. And they all heard that Zephania Archibald was now preparing to forge a magic sword. If the magic sword was forged, it would probably have the ability to kill gods. Such a figure was not something they could afford to offend. Only the master of Snow God Mountain could not care about his thoughts. By then, Zephania Archibald's status would soar to the sky in an instant. While there was still a chance to contact him, it was natural to establish some friendship with him as soon as possible. We are much stronger than the mortal empire. It is the right way to be open and above board. If the one-word side-by-side king of the mortal world surrenders to us, we should not slaughter him excessively. A disciple of Snow God Mountain said, our main purpose this time is to show off the reputation of our Snow God Mountain in front of other forces, so that they will not look down on us. If the so-called one-word side-by-side king knows what is good for him and surrenders, he can be spared. Another disciple of Snow God Mountain also said, I'm just afraid that the people of Sword God Mountain will meddle in other people's business. These people never said from beginning to end that their people from Snow God Mountain were killed by the people of Sword God Mountain and they wanted to seek revenge on the people of Sword God Mountain. Tobias Allen said, I think the one word side by side king is very confident and does not seem to take our people from Snow God Mountain seriously. I believe he must have some means and some powerful tricks. Don't be careless. Tobias Allen, what you said makes sense. Everyone present nodded one by one. In fact, they knew this truth well, and accidents might happen at any time. If you are not careful and fall into their trap, you may lose your life. These people really value their lives. Now that senior brother Zephaniah Archibald has arrived, it's almost time to set off. There are 13 demigods now, Tobias Allen said as he looked around. Counting the three-headed dog of hell, there are 14 demigods, plus 36 saints. Even a large empire can be destroyed. Everyone present nodded. You know, even an ordinary empire usually only has 2 demigods and a dozen saints, and these people are their backbone. They are not used easily, especially those demigods. Even the emperor has to salute them. For a small fiefdom of the king of one word, it is already good to have a demigod level powerhouse like Dante. Zephaniah Archibald did not speak from beginning to end. We are definitely superior in strength. At this time, another demigod level strongman said, in this case, we don't need to delay any longer. Let's set off for the place where the mithril mine is located. The sooner we go, the sooner we will return. In fact, he said this just to get the mithril, or as soon as possible. That's right, what are you waiting for? Many people responded. The more people there are, the more they will get. They don't want to share their own interests. Okay, let's go. There are so many of us, enough to destroy the empire. The big thing is a foregone conclusion. All the disciples of the Snow God Mountain agreed, because the more people come, the more credit they need to share. They set off first. First take the mithril mine, then they will have the main credit, and can eat meat and drink soup. However, everyone's eyes were still on Tobias Allen. After all, Tobias Allen was the initiator of the mission, so they had to give him some face. Tobias Allen nodded slightly and turned his gaze to Zephaniah Archibald beside him. Senior brother Zephaniah Archibald, what do you think? Since everyone has decided, let's go. Zephaniah Archibald responded expressionlessly. Tobias Allen said directly to the others present, then let's go. As a hidden force, Snow God Mountain naturally has a special means of transportation, a large magic ship. The manufacture of this magic ship is very complicated. Even if there are 5 demigod masters, it will take 10 years to make such a ship, and the cost of materials has not been added. There are only 3 ships in the entire Snow God Mountain, one of which is the Mountain Master's vehicle. The other 2 can only be used when there is a major mission. Such a large mithril mine can greatly increase the strength of Snow God Mountain. The task of seizing the mithril mine is not trivial. After discussing, several elders allowed them to use this magic ship. Tobias Allen and Zephaniah Archibald were the first to stand on the magic ship, and the others followed one after another. Chapter 653, Support. Brother, it's been so many years, can't you let it go? Habakkuk Enoch suddenly said seriously. Let it go? The longer it's been, the deeper the hatred in my heart. Why do those old guys from Giantshan Mountain treat me like this? I just want to prove to them that their decision is wrong. Zephaniah Archibald said with some excitement. How do you want to prove it? Habakkuk Enoch asked with a wry smile. As long as I defeat you, the most talented disciple of Giantshan Mountain in 1,000 years, I can prove that the judgment of those old guys is totally wrong. Zephaniah Archibald said with some resentment. Brother, what can you do if you defeat me? You were really wrong back then. Very wrong. What's wrong with me? It's all because those old guys are too biased. Everything is yours. Just because you are the most talented disciple of Giantshan Mountain in 1,000 years. Zephaniah Archibald's face was already a little distorted. Brother, you are really wrong. The reason why Master and his friends were so strict with you was because they wanted to pass on the Sword God Mountain to you. You have never understood their good intentions. Habakkuk Enoch shook his head slightly and said, this is impossible. Zephaniah Archibald's face changed again. You know, he has been living in hatred for so many years. Those hatreds are his motivation to move forward. What Habakkuk Enoch said just now actually directly denied it. It is absolutely impossible. Or do you not want to believe it? How could they give the sword god mountain to me? In their eyes, I'm a waste without talent. Zeffini and Archibald actually roared loudly. People from Sword God Mountain sometimes say that you are a waste. You just imposed it on yourself. Habakkuk said, do you remember, when you were little, you told me that you would carry forward Sword God Mountain? But everything changed when you grew up. You are no longer like yourself. No, I haven't changed. It's you who have changed. Zeffini and Archibald's face was extremely ferocious. Thinking back to the past, he found that maybe he was really wrong, but he didn't want to admit it anyway. I don't care who is right or wrong. Let me see how powerful this rare genius cultivated by Sword God Mountain is. Zeffini and Archibald slowly put aside the entanglement in his heart. Zeffini and Archibald took out a long sword directly from the space ring, and the other disciples of Snow God Mountain also took out their weapons like him. Zeffini and Archibald said to the others in a deep voice, everyone, don't make a move. This is a personal grudge between me and Habakkuk. After hearing Zeffini and Archibald, the others hesitated for a moment, and then put their weapons back. Habakkuk turned back, and said to Yunfan, this is a matter between me and senior brother Zeffini and Archibald. Don't interfere. Yunfan nodded slightly. Senior brother Zeffini and Archibald, come on, let me see how much you have improved over the years. Habakkuk also took out a long sword from the space ring. A golden sword light bloomed directly from the long sword in his hand. Boom. A strange aura burst out from Zeffini and Archibald, and then a whirlwind blew around him. In this whirlwind, sand and rocks flew everywhere. These flying sand and rocks were spinning wildly, just like a huge whirlpool, covering Zeffini and Archibald. Some of the sand and rocks were madly attacking Habakkuk. It was Zeffini and Archibald's demigod domain, flying sand sword domain. Zeffini and Archibald trampled the earth like a violent lion, leaving a residual image, and crushed directly towards Habakkuk. Golden sword domain. The golden sword energy surrounded Habakkuk and formed a tough sword energy barrier. The golden sword energy barrier kept spinning. When the flying sand and rocks rushed wildly, they were blocked by these sword domains. Break it. A purple lightning sword energy hit the sword domain with a bang, and even the purple lightning that was blooming was scratched by the thunderbolt. Seeing this situation, Yunfan was a little surprised. You know, the fighting spirits that ordinary people practice are nothing more than gold, wood, water, fire, earth and wind, and this is the first time that Yunfan has encountered fighting spirits with attributes like electricity, purple lightning power. Habakkuk looked surprised, as if he had discovered something extraordinary. I didn't expect you to actually do it. The golden energy wings behind him suddenly opened. Magical power, energy wings. The purple lightning directly crushed the golden sword domain and passed through Habakkuk's domain, but the expression on Zeffini and Archibald's face did not change at all, because he only pierced through the phantom of the sword. Habakkuk discovered Zeffini and Archibald's strength at the beginning, and Habakkuk directly increased his speed to the limit. At the limit, he was extremely flexible, and avoided it in an instant. Do you think you are the only one who has energy wings? You will be disappointed this time. Zeffini and Archibald said expressionlessly, while spreading his purple energy wings. This purple lightning power is considered to be a very destructive existence among the element. With one step, the earth shattered. He had turned into a purple thunder and rushed to Habakkuk again. His long sword easily tore Habakkuk's defense. Too fast. Habakkuk was forced to dodge. He did not expect Zeffini and Archibald's thunder wings to be so powerful, and the speed displayed was much faster than his. After performing the golden wings 5 times in a row, Habakkuk finally avoided Zeffini and Archibald's powerful attack and barely pulled away from Zeffini and Archibald. Yunfan even found from a distance. In terms of flying speed, Zeffini and Archibald was much faster than Habakkuk. Habakkuk had directly deployed his half-body domain before. He originally thought that he could suppress Zeffini and Archibald with his half-god domain as before, but when they really got entangled, he actually felt a little suppressed. Demon sealing sword technique, fighting and shifting. 100 long swords immediately floated around Habakkuk. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 654, Battle Between Fellow Disciples. A golden sword light condensed in front of him. In fact, there are two sets of sword techniques circulating in Jianshan Mountain. The one used by Yunfan was a sword technique used by the sword god before he became a god, but it was later modified by the sword god and its power increased a lot. The sword technique that Habakak is using now is the second set of sword techniques created by the sword god. The power of this set of crazy sword techniques is much stronger than the first set of sword techniques, and the difficulty of practicing is also relatively increased. Moreover, only the true descendants of Jianshan Mountain can practice the second set of sword techniques. While Habakak used his golden wings to dodge, he sent out several golden sword blades in succession. The golden sword blades crushed Zephania Archibald from different directions. Zilla. Countless purple lightnings surrounded Zephania Archibald. When the golden sword was about to penetrate, Zephania Archibald did not retreat but advanced. The long sword in his hand turned into a purple tassel and went straight to meet it. Zephania Archibald shouted, "Is this the legendary sword technique of sealing demons in Jianshan Mountain? It's nothing special." In fact, his heart was not calm. If what Habakak said was true, this set of sword techniques should have been passed on to me. But how can there be so many ifs in this world? There is no regret medicine in this world. Maybe there are powerful people who can reverse time and space, but Zephania Archibald does not have this ability. His thunder sword instantly passed through the void, leaving only a purple phantom, and the golden purple colors intertwined together, showing a brilliant brilliance. No demon, no demon. In fact, this set of sword techniques is not suitable for me, Habakak said in a very calm tone. Bang, bang, bang. A series of collisions sounded. The aftermath of the battle shocked everyone. The golden sword blades were all caught. The sword skills of these two people are very high. If they were on the gods continent, both of them would have the possibility of igniting the divine fire. Sakuden suddenly said, "Even if it's me, I'm afraid I'm not their opponent in terms of sword skills. To be honest, this world makes me more and more curious. Habakak, come and take my sword." Zephania Archibald's body jumped out of a purple thunder and rushed straight to Yunfan. Just in time. While the golden energy wings behind Habakak shook, a golden sword blade condensed in front of him. As soon as the golden sword blade flew out, it was blocked by Zephania Archibald's sword. "Come again." Zephania Archibald seemed to be furious. His face was as ferocious as a demon, and the speed of the purple sword in his hand increased a lot. Habakak tried his best to display his golden wings. Zephania Archibald had already turned into lightning, and his speed had increased a lot. Habakak was in a very passive situation. Zephania Archibald's strength had exceeded his imagination. Habakak could only dodge with his flexibility. He couldn't pull away at all. The opponent was sticking to him like a sticky candy. Habakak was getting more and more frightened as he fought. What was going on? How could Zephania Archibald be so strong? Didn't they say that he didn't have enough talent? As the saying goes, you will get into trouble sooner or later. The two people fought hard. Zephania Archibald tried his best in every attack, and Habakak's dodges were beyond imagination. You come and I go, and at this time, Zephania Archibald's speed has increased a little, but his purple longsword suddenly appears and covers Habakak's head. Boom. Habakak was also startled by this sudden attack. The golden longsword in his hand made a sword flower, and the golden sword rain rose up in vain. Wow. The golden rain of arrows that bloomed at that moment directly crushed away. Zephania Archibald held the purple thunder sword in his hand, and the purple thunder sword in his hand turned into a lightning in an instant. With an extremely strong aura and sword light different from thunder, it greeted the golden sword blade that was bombarding. Dang dang. A series of metal collisions came, and Habakak felt the extremely strong power of Zephania Archibald, and felt a sense of being suppressed. This feeling was the first time he encountered it when fighting against the enemy. It can be imagined that Zafini Archibald's strength exceeded his imagination. Boom. Habakkuk was blasted back dozens of meters, with wounds appearing on his palms. At this time, the disciples of Snow God Mountain who were watching the battle were all very excited. The one who was attacked was a genius that was rare in Yunfan Mountain for 1,000 years. He was a true pride of heaven. Now he was suppressed by their disciples of Snow God Mountain. This was something they could not imagine. Although Zafini Archibald was also from Yunfan Mountain, he now joined Snow God Mountain and became their disciple. Snow God Mountain has always been the last among the hidden forces. Good man, the fierce battle between these two guys is really tragic. Yunfan was frightened by the battle between the two. If it weren't for his strong physical body, she really didn't have the confidence to survive these two people. In his heart, these two people were already synonymous with evildoers. Habakkuk, after so many years, you haven't made much progress. The genius that Sword God Mountain has not seen for 1,000 years seems to be nothing more than a joke. Senior brother Zafini Archibald, are you really going to do this? Such a strong attack only caused some superficial injuries. When Zafini Archibald bombarded Habakkuk, the other disciples of Snow God Mountain were very excited, but they were disappointed when they saw that Habakkuk was not hurt at all after being blown away. Are both of them really only at the demigod level? Why do I feel that I can't survive a few moves in their hands? Is it possible that I'm a fake demigod? Many disciples of Snow God Mountain have collapsed. They are proud of their own superb strength. Although they cannot be called the top existence among the demigods, they can also be in the upper middle level. But now seeing the battle between the two, these people can't help but start to doubt their lives. Zafini Archibald's purple extreme sword art was so powerful that even the mountain master had to retreat. How could Habakkuk be okay? The disciples of Snow God Mountain felt chilled. Chapter 655. Crazy. After so many years, you still haven't given up practicing forbidden techniques. This will exhaust all your qualifications. His peak of demigod is already your final limit. Why do you bother? Habakkuk said, panting slightly. It's enough to prove that those old guys don't have good vision. Zafini Archibald said with a grim face. This is why he is so persistent in wanting to forge a divine weapon. He has rested all his potential and has exhausted all his potential. Only by finding another way can he have the possibility of going further. He plans to integrate the refined divine weapon directly into his body to achieve an alternative body forging. Although this method cannot be said to be unprecedented, it is unprecedented. I, Zafini Archibald, never believe in fate. Didn't those old guys say that it would be difficult for me to break through to the demigod level? But now I'm at the peak of demigod. The battle between the two was extremely fierce. Zafini Archibald was blasted dozens of meters away by Habakkuk. Then a sharp light flashed in Zafini Archibald's eyes, and the purple thunder power suspended around him became extremely violent. This was the first time that Zafini Archibald was suppressed since he and Habakkuk fought. It should be said that Habakkuk showed his full strength for the first time. The sword light and blade tore Zafini Archibald's head and it hurt. Demon sealing sword technique sword domain. In front of Habakkuk, thousands of golden sword ki appeared, emitting light like a real sword. Cut, 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 cut. The distance between the two was getting bigger and bigger. Habakkuk took advantage of the victory and tried his best to use 4 golden sword blades. Just using these 4 golden sword blades was already a certain burden for him. Defeat me. Habakkuk's eyes were full of expectation. These were already Habakkuk's strongest moves. He had to successfully defeat Zafini Archibald, otherwise the consequences would be unpredictable. It's useless. If I were to take the fighter route, I would probably be defeated by you. But no, I'm taking the path of becoming a god in the flesh. Zafini Archibald was surrounded by flying thunder and lightning, and Habakkuk's golden sword blade couldn't cut it at all. The moment the golden sword blade controlled by Habakkuk penetrated the purple lightning, Zafini Archibald glanced at Habakkuk and slashed at him with a sword. He didn't seem to care at all about the golden sword blade hitting his body. This was the advantage of becoming a god in the flesh. Ordinary attacks were like tickling and couldn't break his flesh at all. Bang! Zephania Archibald was also hit with real fire. Purple lightning surged wildly. He shook violently, and his feet stepped on the ground, and took 3 steps forward. The whole world seemed to tremble and shake. Another purple sword light followed closely. Damn it, how can he be so strong? There is no solution to becoming a god in the flesh. Habakkuk Enoch felt his arms were numb and powerless, but he was not afraid, because of his extraordinary fighting spirit. He tried his best to resist Zephania Archibald's attack. Zephania Archibald was like a violent thunder beast, showing his ferocious fangs. Bang, bang, but every time he blocked it, he was shocked back, and his momentum was weakened a lot. Before he knew it, 2 purple lightnings took advantage of the opportunity and directly slashed towards his body. Crackling. The purple lightning was like a knife, directly cutting Habakkuk Enoch's body, but the layer of golden light on Habakkuk Enoch's body blocked a lot of damage at the critical moment. Paralysis effect. In addition to its powerful attack, lightning also has a strong paralysis effect. As more and more purple lightning hit his body, Habakkuk Enoch's movements became slower and slower. It was not obvious at first, but as time went by, Habakkuk Enoch became slower and slower. Fortunately, Habakkuk Enoch had a good foundation. When the purple lightning tried its best to break through Habakkuk Enoch's armor and began to cut his body, it was also extremely difficult. The power of purple lightning that barely stayed on Habakkuk Enoch slowly dissipated. Damn it, why is this happening? Habakkuk Enoch's eyes widened. His golden sword blade didn't have much effect when it hit Zephania Archibald. He understood. While Zephania Archibald was using purple lightning, his physical toughness also improved. Brother Zephania Archibald, we're here to help you. Yes, we are here to help you. These disciples of Snow God Mountain were eager to start their actions. Stop. A very violent voice came. After hearing this voice, the disciples of Snow God Mountain present could not help but stop. The person who said this was Zephania Archibald. What Zephania Archibald pursued in his life was to defeat Habakkuk Enoch in an open and above-board manner. He did not allow others to interfere in the battle between him and Habakkuk Enoch. No one is allowed to interfere with the battle between me and Habakkuk Enoch, otherwise don't blame me for being ruthless with my sword. Zephania Archibald's tone was firm and cold, and no one dared to question his words. To be honest, this kid really has some qualities of a hero. Sakadin couldn't help but admire. Although I don't know what happened back then, from what they said, I think there must be a misunderstanding. Yunfan said. Why are you going to let him go? Sakadin said. It depends on the situation. If this guy doesn't know what's good for him, I can only kill him directly. Yunfan said. Maybe this kid's original talent is really not that good. Sakadin hesitated for a moment and said. How come you found something? If I'm not mistaken, this kid is practicing an ancient forbidden secret method, forcibly reversing his own power. I always thought that this secret method was just a legend. I didn't expect this kid to be so cruel. He can actually survive with a mortality rate of up to 80%. If this guy doesn't die, he will definitely become a figure. Sakadin said. This kind of person is either a genius or a lunatic. Yunfan couldn't help but admire Zephania Archibald when he heard this. From what you said, you want to recruit this person for your own use. I think you'd better think about it carefully. This kind of person is not so easy to control. Sakadin didn't seem optimistic about Yunfan's ability to subdue Zephania Archibald. Chapter 656, God and Demon Body. I just have this idea. Let's wait and see. Habakkuk Enoch will never kill Zephania Archibald. Yunfan said, and even if Zephania Archibald wins Habakkuk Enoch by chance, he will let Habakkuk Enoch live. Are you so sure that Habakkuk Enoch can win? He is always at a disadvantage now. How can it be so simple to be called a genius that Sword God Mountain has not seen for 1,000 years? Yunfan said lightly, and no one noticed the flash of strange light in his eyes. Kill. Habakkuk Enoch quickly shook his golden energy wings and quickly retreated, leaving a certain distance from Zephania Archibald. Zephania Archibald's purple lightning spun like layers of protective walls, and the messy gravel flew up under the influence of electricity. Habakkuk Enoch's attack was unable to penetrate again, which shows the terrifying power of Zephania Archibald's purple lightning field. It's simply invincible. Sakadin exclaimed. I don't see any possibility that Habakakenoch can win. Just keep watching. Yunfan smiled faintly, pretending. Sakadin pouted, but he still believed in Yunfan's vision. Habakakenoch bumped into a purple lightning field. No, I can't be passive like this anymore. Habakakenoch completely changed his strategy and decided not to fight head on, while controlling the golden light field to form layer after layer of obstacles to block the invasion of purple lightning. Habakakenoch also condensed golden sword blades around Zephania Archibald. The golden blade was around Habakakenoch. It was a kind of protection, but when the golden blade appeared around Zephania Archibald, it was an extremely powerful attack. Do you think you can stop me with your golden blade domain? Habakakenoch, you underestimate me too much. Purple lightning. Zephania Archibald actually used his unparalleled body to forcefully knock away the golden blade. Habakakenoch actually used a lot of effort to control the golden blade domain. The golden blade domain actually has special abilities like the purple lightning domain. The special ability of the purple lightning domain is paralysis, while the special ability of the golden blade domain is cutting and indestructible. Once he tried his best to control it, the indestructible golden blade continued to bloom and cut everything. Under this powerful cutting ability, the power of Zephania Archibald's purple lightning was weakened a lot. I didn't expect that there is another guy who has developed special abilities. Sakadin's pupils shrank. Back then, I only reached the realm of lower gods before I started to get involved in this field. What a monster. What is going on in this continent? How come the characters that appear can be comparable to the geniuses on the gods continent? I was not sure before. When Zephania Archibald showed his domain characteristics, Sakadin easily captured this special temperament. This special temperament must be in the realm of characteristics. If it is not in the realm of characteristics, how can it be so powerful? I saw that the golden sword blade, like a lotus, bloomed layer by layer, and there was a faint sacred breath. Under the blessing of the golden sword blade's domain characteristics, Zephania Archibald had to become careful. This indestructible characteristic reduced his physical advantage a lot at once. Very good, I still see you clearly. Now you are really capable of fighting me. Zephania Archibald showed an excited and crazy smile on his face. The two fought for longer and longer, and Zephania Archibald found helplessly that, after losing his advantage, he fell into an increasingly passive situation. If Habakakenoch has the ability to remove your golden sword blade field, we can fight for 800 rounds. The golden sword blade field is also my method. Habakakenoch sneered. I won't hurt you either. How about going back with me to see the master? Hearing this, Zephania Archibald's face changed. Sure enough, Yunfan saw what happened between the two, and his guess was right. If you want to take me back to see those old guys, don't dream in vain. Zephania Archibald's eyes flashed with purple lightning, and he roared suddenly. His body suddenly emitted a dazzling purple light, and the whole person began to grow larger and larger, as if trying to break free from the golden sword blade field. The expansion continued. In the end, it became a giant about 16 or 17 meters tall. Habakakenoch was only as tall as his calf. His breath produced a thunderous wind that cracked the surrounding air. His footsteps made the entire earth shake. The body of the demon god. Sakadin exclaimed. It seems that this kid is very lucky. He has refined the blood of the thunder god. The body of the demon god is a special power that only a few gods can master in legends. Legend has it that in the most ancient times, the earliest group of gods that appeared at that time were all 10,000 meters tall, and their power was proportional to their size. However, after a very big disaster, the oldest group of gods disappeared, and the whole world fell into chaos. The god of creation reopened the world, and the new gods were no longer as tall as the ancient gods. Later, the new gods imitated the body of the ancient gods and created a method of extremely powerful attack and then enlarged their body. This method is called the body of the demon god. Generally speaking, only extremely talented gods can master this skill. Sakadin was valued by his family because he mastered this skill when he was a lower god. So when he saw Zephania Archibald use this trick, he was so out of control. He felt that this world was full of malice, and it was not enough to have a pervert like Yunfan. Is the body of the demon god very powerful? Yunfan couldn't help but ask curiously. Very powerful. Once the body of the demon god is used, the power becomes greater, the speed becomes faster, and even the toughness of the body soars. The strength has soared so much, isn't there any disadvantage? Yunfan didn't believe that there was such a perfect thing in the world. To maintain the state of the body of the gods and demons, the energy consumed has increased a lot. Chapter 657, Great Gods Battle Method. This is also expected. This world is fair. In fact, all energy is conserved to a certain extent, it just transforms from one state to another. Yunfan said lightly. Yunfan believed that no matter in which world, the conservation of energy would not change, and only the attribute of power energy would change. It seems that what you said makes sense. Do you also have a way to cultivate this god and demon body? Yunfan suddenly asked. Yes, I'm a genius. Sakadin said. Tell me the cultivation method. Let me see what this god and demon body is like. Yunfan did not intend to cultivate the god and demon body directly, because he felt that the Shenlong transformation he cultivated was not worse than this god and demon body. At the end of the cultivation, he could transform into a Shenlong and have the power comparable to the god of creation. Sakadin originally wanted to brag about how difficult it was to cultivate this god and demon body, but when he thought that Yunfan was a big pervert, he couldn't help but swallow what he wanted to say. After receiving the information from Sakadin, Yunfan discovered that this so-called divine and demonic body was actually a simplified version of the dragon transformation. The giant Zephania Archibald's eyes shot out purple lightning and roared, Habakakenoch, let's fight again. Zephania Archibald, who had unfolded his demonic body, was like a young ancient demon, and his voice was as powerful as a loudspeaker. Zephania Archibald's whole body was purple, like a purple armored war god. His eyes were purple like substance, and the world vibrated with his breath. The sharp golden light that was indestructible before, like a madman, cut towards Zephania Archibald. The purple lightning flowing on Zephania Archibald's body easily blocked these golden sword blades. The indestructible attribute seemed to be lost all of a sudden. He glanced around like lightning, and suddenly a wave startled Habakakenoch. Habakakenoch did not hesitate to blast out with a sword. The golden sword directly hit Zephania Archibald, but it did not cause much ripples. Dang. With a crisp sound, Habakakenoch was shocked, and took 2 steps back. The ground shook and cracked when he stepped on it, which showed that Zephania Archibald's attack was earth-shattering. What a Zephania Archibald! Habakakenoch's pupils shrank. Zephania Archibald's use of the body of the demon god was so powerful that he was definitely a lower level god. Awesome. Zephania Archibald's attack has surpassed that of an ordinary lower level god. Sakadin exclaimed. The disciples of Snow God Mountain became excited one by one. They understood that Zephania Archibald's strength was no worse than that of the disciples of Snow God Mountain. The body of the demon god, the fighting method of the great god. Habakakenoch stared at Zephania Archibald. He felt endless pressure from the moment Zephania Archibald grew bigger. He vaguely understood that Zephania Archibald's fighting power at this time was stronger than his. Both of them are very evil. Habakakenoch walked slowly with the golden sword in his hand. The body emitting purple light, the invisible and powerful sense of oppression made him feel a little depressed. Is this the body of the demon god? Habakakenoch said secretly. He had heard of this magical power in Jianshan Mountain a long time ago. This is also the most famous of the forbidden magical powers collected in Jianshan Mountain. The forbidden magical power secret technique you stole from Jianshan Mountain back then. The magical power is very precious and rare. There are only a few copies in the entire continent. Almost every copy is collected by people with great power. This is the foundation of a power. Generally, only the top great powers can possess it. The threshold of this magical power is extremely high. If you practice it to a high level, it can be called a real ancient great magical power. According to legend, some ancient gods in the gods continent also like to use a devil body when fighting. This shows the power of this magical power. But the cultivation of this magical power is extremely demanding. Even 9 out of 10 ordinary gods cannot practice it, and those who cannot practice it basically become neither human nor ghost. It is precisely because of this that this magical power is set as a taboo in the Sword God Mountain and is not allowed to be practiced. Of course, if you practice successfully and use this divine body magical power, you can make your own strength dozens of times more powerful, which is simply terrifying. Maintaining the body of god and demon consumes an astonishing amount of energy. Let's see how much energy you have. Habakkuk Enoch was also angry in his heart. My consumption is not bad. I can barely hold on for an hour or so. Habakkuk Enoch. Zephaniah Archibald roared. He didn't expect Habakkuk Enoch to figure out the key so quickly. As a disciple of the Sword God Mountain, have you also learned this despicable method? Habakkuk Enoch tried his best to control the golden sword blade field, frantically restraining Zephaniah Archibald's actions, but he didn't kill him. I will bring you to the master. Zephaniah Archibald roared with the body of god and demon. It was indeed as Habakkuk Enoch said. The energy consumed by using the body of god and demon was very astonishing. Zephaniah Archibald wanted to admit defeat and dissolve the body of god and demon, to return to normal form. In that case, Habakkuk Enoch might take him down directly. Half an hour is not long, nor is it short. Zephaniah Archibald attacked frantically in the past half hour. He wanted to get rid of Habakkuk Enoch's entanglement, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't do it. It was not right to not fight, and it was not right to fight. He was now in an extremely embarrassing situation. Just give up, brother, and go back with me to see the master. He will definitely forgive you. Habakkuk Enoch began to persuade. Impossible. There is absolutely no way I can go back. How can I go back without defeating you? Zephaniah Archibald roared angrily. Is it so important to defeat me? Is it important? Zephaniah Archibald stopped talking. In fact, Zephaniah Archibald was extremely eager to return to Giantshan Mountain in his heart, but there was always a knot in his heart, a knot that could not be untied. Surpass Habakkuk Enoch and let those guys know that he, Zephaniah Archibald, is not a waste. Zephaniah Archibald finally consumed all his strength unwillingly, and the body of the god and devil was also released in an instant, returning to its original appearance. The golden sword field directly trapped Zephaniah Archibald inside. I didn't expect that after so many years of hard work, I still lost to you. I'm unwilling. Chapter 658, The Proud Disciple of Zushan Mountain. Habakkuk Enoch left with Zephaniah Archibald. He wanted to take Zephaniah Archibald to see his master. The people of Snow God Mountain did not expect that things would develop to this point. The disciples of Snow God Mountain wanted to stop Habakkuk Enoch from leaving with Zephaniah Archibald, but no one dared to really take action. Everyone has gone to solve their own problems. What about you? What are you going to do? Yunfan said to the people of Snow God Mountain with a faint smile. Dante, king of one word, I think you still have some skills. Why don't you join me and Snow God Mountain? Tobias Allen suddenly said to Yunfan in an uncharacteristic way. What? Yunfan couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that the other party actually wanted to recruit him. What are the conditions for me to join your Snow God Mountain? Yunfan said in a flat tone. As long as you contribute the mithril mine, you will be a member of my Snow God Mountain. I can guarantee that, as long as you don't cause trouble, you can walk sideways in Snow God Mountain. Yunfan couldn't help shaking his head. The people of Snow God Mountain were too beautiful. Just a few random words like this, they wanted him to bow down and contribute the mithril mine. Why don't you want to? You should know that our Snow God Mountain is a hidden force. It is your honor to join us. I don't want this kind of honor. Dante, don't refuse to drink the wine. Now there is no one from Sword God Mountain to protect you. Do I need the protection of others? The magic circle starts. Dundrum Canyon. The fog composed of dark power spread in an instant, and the whole world seemed to fall into darkness. This is a good time to train troops. The future continent is not peaceful. Yunfan whispered to himself. In this age, when the gods are not out, Yunfan believes that there are not many people in this world who can threaten him, but many ants can bite elephants to death. No matter how powerful a person is, it is always limited, unless he has the power to look down on everything. Obviously, Yunfan does not have this condition now. In the place, shrouded by the dark aura, Yunfan also disappeared in the black fog in an instant. The people of Zushan Mountain were slightly unhappy. They were people from the hidden forces. Incorporating this little one-word shoulder to shoulder king was already a great honor for him. This little guy didn't appreciate it and wanted to go against the people of Zushan Mountain. This is simply eating a bear's heart and a leopard's courage. The people who came to Zushan Mountain this time were all masters of the saint level or the demigod level. Some of them still have some research on the magic array. Feeling the power of the magic array, their hearts sank. This is a demigod level dark attribute magic array. Everyone must be more careful, otherwise you may suffer. One of the disciples of Zushan Mountain who knows magic array said, "Conrad Alfred, what do you think we should do now?" Then a disciple from the Snow God Mountain asked, "If we want to break this magic circle, we must understand it. The best way is to send someone to investigate first." The Snow God Mountain disciple named Conrad Alfred who knew magic circles answered. The other Snow God Mountain disciples looked at each other and shook their heads slightly. At this time, one of the disciples said, "Conrad Alfred, you are the demigod who has studied magic circles the most among us. It seems that this matter must be handled by you." The Snow God Mountain disciple named Conrad Alfred who knew magic circles changed his face after hearing the other party's words. Although he knew magic circles, he did not want to take risks himself. No matter what magic circle, it was full of unknowns and dangers. You know, he had suffered losses in this regard before. I think it's better to take a long-term view on this matter. As you said, I know the magic circle best among all of us. If something happens to me, it will be almost impossible for you to find a flaw. Conrad Alfred, you are really good at making clever remarks. The disciple of Zushan Mountain who made this suggestion said sarcastically, "Steinbeck Albert, although I don't know why you are targeting me, if you have the ability, go and break this magic circle," Conrad Alfred said with an unpleasant face. However, the one called Steinbeck Albert's face turned black. "Okay, don't argue here. It's just a magic circle set up by the forces of the Empire King, one word shoulder to shoulder. How strong can it be? With us, even if we use force, we should be able to solve it." As the leader of this event, Tobias Allen naturally has a certain right to speak. "Tobias Allen, what you said is very reasonable. In that case, let's enter the formation together." In the dark magic circle, it seems that they are going to enter the formation together. A commander-like person at the control hub of the magic circle said to others. This magic circle is a dark magic circle created by Yunfan, based on his own eternal night domain. Even Sakaton was very surprised when Yunfan took out this magic circle. People who can create advanced magic circles can be said to have reached the extreme in the use of power. Anyway, even Sakaton in his peak state does not have this ability. The magic circles he uses are all transformed from other magic circles. A genius like Yunfan who directly creates magic circles based on his own domain is rare even in the God's continent. The entire magic circle is connected to each other by ki. By adjusting the frequency of the magic circle, people in the circle can transmit information to each other. Are these people ready to enter the magic circle? The other member of the magic circle nodded slightly. "Let these self-righteous guys see how powerful we are." Our master said, "Capture the leader first." I saw them talking to each other there just now, and it seemed that the tall guy was the leader. All God Hunters members should be prepared and ready to attack at any time. Prioritize hunting down demigod level strongmen. The person in charge in the magic circle said, "It's best to get rid of the tall guy first." Tobias Allen naturally didn't know that he had been seen by a person in charge of the magic circle while he was talking to others just now. At his suggestion, Tobias Allen, became the priority target. Chapter 659 Dark Mist. 6 snipers hiding in the dark, holding sniper rifles, ready to hunt the invading enemy at any time. When all 16 snipers were staring at Tobias Allen, they shuddered involuntarily. "Why do I feel a chill coming? Does it mean that something bad has happened?" Tobias Allen looked around cautiously and muttered to himself. In fact, he is now considering who to let be his shield. Some people who have a strong backstage in Zushan Mountain were directly excluded by him. The only one left who is most suitable to be betrayed is Chesterton Abraham, who often plays against him. "Everyone." The person in charge of the formation suddenly said, "Everything is for West Coast Scrum. For West Coast Scrum." Not only the 16 snipers, but everyone in the magic circle responded solemnly. They have long regarded West Coast Grom as their home, and now someone wants to destroy their home. They naturally cannot agree. I will be in the core, controlling the formation to assist everyone. The person in charge of the formation said, Pips Felix is the backup commander. If anything happens to me, Pips Felix will replace me. We must win this war no matter what. Now those people have entered the magic formation, and everyone should take their positions now. The person in charge of the formation said again. Everyone in the formation was on guard and took their positions according to their division of labor. At this moment, all the disciples of Zushan Mountain have entered the formation. They are very careful in every step they take. Although they look down on Yunfan's men, none of them dare to be negligent. Because when they met, they had already agreed that they would not disperse easily because their people were in the light and Yunfan's men were in the dark. Once they were separated, they would be easily attacked by surprise. This magic formation composed of dark element is so strange that even our demigod domain is suppressed and cannot be explored too far away. The disciples of Zushan Mountain could not help but curse inwardly. Everyone should be careful of the sneak attacks of these little ants. I don't know who shouted. In the thick fog of dark element, as time passed, the atmosphere became more and more solemn. They all held their breath, fearing that a terrible attack would suddenly emerge from the dark fog. As professionals who have experienced countless life and death, they all understand one thing. Even if they look down on each other, they cannot underestimate anyone when they are really fighting for life and death. There are also light attributed professionals among the disciples of Zhu Shenshan. He originally thought that he could directly dispel some dark fog with his light attribute. What made him helpless was that the area he dispelled was too small and it didn't have much effect at all. The thick dark fog of dark element around made the disciples of Zhu Shenshan present unable to see clearly in the distance. They didn't know that the sniper hidden in the dark had already aimed at them, waiting for them to get closer to give them a fatal blow. They couldn't see, which was also the reason why the black fog was so powerful. Come on. Let me see how powerful your so-called disciples of Snow God Mountain are. The person in charge of the formation was staring at the distance. All the actions of everyone were under his observation. He could even pass the observed situation to others through the formation. 2 people have entered the attack range of number 1, and 3 people have entered the attack range of number 2. The person in charge of the formation was there calculating the distance of everyone. What is the name of the guy in charge of the magic formation? Sakurdin suddenly asked. Sainsbury Mac is one of the first batch of people who became palace soldiers. Yunfan said. Sometimes I really doubt whether you are a human. It's been so long, and you can still remember his name. Sakurdin pouted. No one, wait a little longer, don't be impatient. A voice sounded in his ears, and Hunter God number 1 nodded slightly. As a soldier of Grom on the west coast, obeying orders is the first principle, and he believes in the person in charge of the formation. The person in charge of the formation controls everything in the entire magic formation. Only he can easily transmit voice and receive information from others. Others in the magic circle could not see too far with their naked eyes, but they could see the situation within his range. Sainsbury Mac was in the center of the magic circle. He could see everything clearly. The black fog composed of the dark element was like his eyes, allowing him to clearly perceive everything in the magic circle. These guys from Zushan Mountain are really careful. Sainsbury Mac said, their current distribution method is very problematic. There is a vague connection between these people. If we take action now, we may not be able to solve them. We must find a way to make them reveal a flaw. The most important thing for a commander is patience. Sainsbury Mac has enough patience. He is waiting for the opportunity, with an opportunity to disrupt Zushan Mountain's plan. After entering the positive magic circle, the disciples of Zushan Mountain were very cautious and directly used the entry method to connect their perceptions together, just like sharing mental power. Although the black fog composed of the dark element is extremely mysterious, I still found a little difference. At this time, one of the disciples of Zushan Mountain spoke. I also found some traces. At first I thought my perception was wrong, but you, senior brother Lindensel, also found it. So it's right. You are much better than me in magic array. I think you can break this magic array in a shorter time. Another disciple of Zushan Mountain said with a smile. As disciples of hidden forces, they are involved in much more than ordinary people. Inheritance. After reaching the semi-god realm, it is impossible to directly improve their realm, so they will expand their own aspects. As long as they can enhance their combat power, they will study it. Most of these disciples of Zushan Mountain are good at several aspects. The most important reason is that due to the existence of the world seal, their own cultivation will never exceed that of semi-gods. In this case, let me break this magic array. The guy who said there was a problem with the magic array said directly to everyone. After hearing what the guy who said there was a problem with the magic array said, the confidence of others in breaking the magic array increased a lot. The man nodded. I will try to break it. Please be careful and alert. Chapter 664. Leave it to us, Blind Ansel. Just focus on breaking the magic circle. Tobias Allen said. The people of Zushan Mountain were on guard and protected Blind Ansel. Not long after, it's just ahead. Blind Ansel's eyes lit up, and he said confidently, I have found the key to this magic circle. The disciples of Zushan Mountain became excited one by one. In this magic circle, filled with dark element, their visible road was only a few meters away. This made them very uneasy. No one could predict what would happen in the darkness. Most of these people opened the defense shield, which would continue to consume their own strength. They didn't want to be dragged down by the defense shield before they met the enemy. A group of disciples of Zushan Mountain moved forward quickly under the guidance of Blind Ansel. Perhaps it was because of their psychological effect. They felt that the dark element in front seemed to be lighter. They saw a mysterious pattern engraved on the ground not far away. That is the magic cornerstone they made, Blind Ansel said with a complacent smile. The so-called magic cornerstone is the foundation of the magic circle. All magic circles are built on the magic cornerstone. The magic spirit is like a framework, supporting the entire magic circle. We actually found the magic cornerstone. It's great. As long as we destroy the magic cornerstone, we can remove the magic circle. The disciples of Zushan Mountain were all delighted. Brothers, get ready. Those guys have been disturbed by the magic cornerstone we deliberately released. The commander in charge of the magic circle said, I give an order. Number 1 and number 2 will kill, and it is best to hunt down their leader. The others are ready to support at any time. Don't worry, I will complete the task. Number 1 and number 2 had cold light flashing in their eyes. Okay, just listen to my orders. The commander in charge of the magic circle was also looking forward to it. This time we must show our power. The 30 or so disciples of Zushan Mountain saw the magic cornerstone that was deliberately released for them to see, but they did not realize that just 1,000 meters away from them, there were 2 snipers lurking there, ready to give them a fatal blow at any time. About 30 disciples of Zushan Mountain carefully observed the magic cornerstone, thinking about how to destroy it. At this moment, the sniper operation begins. Number 1 and number 2, who had been hiding in the darkness, heard the voice of the magic circle. Bang, bang. When the disciples of Zushan Mountain were ecstatic, when they saw the magic cornerstone, suddenly 1 or 2 muffled sounds suddenly came out of the thick black fog beside them. Before they could react, Tobias Allen was shot in the head and died. Both shots hit his head, and Tobias Allen's head was instantly blown to pieces. The disciples of Zushan Mountain who followed him were all shocked. They didn't even know what happened. A demigod level strongman fell beside them like this. Damn it, what on earth happened? How did they attack? Where are their people hiding? A series of questions lingered in the minds of the disciples of Zushan Mountain. Fear spread from the soles of their feet to their entire bodies. Some of the more timid ones even screamed in fear. The unknown was terrifying. All this happened too fast. The distance that the naked eye could see in the black fog was too close. The hunting god Yunfan created to hunt demigods was not much different from the attacks of demigods in terms of speed and power. It was even stronger. In just a moment, the gunshots in the darkness rang again, and then 2 more disciples of Zushan Mountain were shot in the head. In the moment of whistling past, someone was hunted again. They were already cautiously on guard, but they could not escape the blow. That was like the kiss of death. The other members of the hunting god also started shooting. Because the other members of the hunting god were farther away, they were beyond the range of accurate hunting. Therefore, they did not use the special bullets forged from mithril, because they were not sure of a one-shot kill. They just wanted to confuse the disciples of Snow God Mountain and make them wonder where the real hunters were. With the help of this dark formation, the hunters were in the dark, and the disciples of Snow God Mountain were in the light. All their actions were under control. The hunters hiding in the darkness were like the gods of death from hell. Too fast. Even 2 more saint-level disciples of Snow God Mountain were pierced by the hunting god, and their bodies were directly smashed by the hunting god. Only a half-god level disciple of Snow God Mountain seemed to have anticipated something. He stepped down, and a blue light flashed on his body. He instantly dodged dozens of meters, and avoided the fatal shot. The reason why the people in front were hunted so easily was mainly because the disciples of Snow God Mountain knew nothing about the attack of bullets, and the power of the hunting god himself was too strong. These highly alert demigod level warriors were very sensitive. Although their demigod domains had been severely weakened, they could still support a 4 to 5 meter domain around them. When the bullets entered the domain, they would be sensed by the demigods who had released the domain, and even cause the bullets to slow down and deviate from their trajectory. This was the reason why the demigod was able to escape death. Although he escaped the fatal blow, the demigod knew that his dodge was extremely lucky. If he had been hit again, he would not have been sure to dodge the bullet. Seeing that someone had actually escaped the fatal blow, number 1 could not help but frown. There really are people who can escape the attack of the hunting god. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Number 1 quickly calmed down and started his hunting again. Everyone set up the snow dragon formation together and used the power of the formation to fight against them. The remaining disciples of the Snow God Mountain were all scared, and someone suddenly shouted loudly. The remaining disciples of Snow God Mountain were not stupid. They knew they could not continue to be passive like this. If they could not break the magic circle, they would be trapped in this passive situation forever, and would definitely be hunted by the ghosts in the darkness one by one. Many people had already regretted it. They should not have come here to rob the mithril mine for the sake of this small advantage. How could this be a soft persimmon that everyone could bully? This was simply a dragon's lair. If he did not think of other ways, he might be the next one to be hunted. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 661. All means are used. Why is it like this? The difference between this and what they originally thought is too big. They can't figure out how an ordinary king of the empire can have so many means in his hands. Set up the formation quickly. Set up the formation quickly. After the Snow God Mountain disciple reminded them, the other Snow God Mountain disciples woke up one by one. I saw a blue stream of light, and it instantly surrounded the Snow God Mountain disciples. Soon, a huge snow dragon phantom appeared in the air out of thin air, and the endless frost breath instantly covered the surroundings. The dead Tobias Allen had used this method some time ago. At that time, there were much fewer people than now, so the power was a world of difference compared to now. The extremely powerful cold current once again caused a change in the sky. The originally thick dark element were suppressed by the cold air. Feeling the changes in the big formation, the face of the person in charge of the magic circle changed, and his control over the magic circle was reduced by half. Is this the power of the hidden forces? The commander of the magic circle took a deep breath and calmed down his already restless heart. He said to the others, everyone must be careful. The other party has also built a magic formation. Their power is not weaker than ours. The dark element of our magic formation are under great pressure. I can no longer guarantee that you can hide in the dark, so everyone must adapt to the situation. After hearing what the commander-in-chief said, the other people in the magic circle became a little confused. Their own strength is much worse than these disciples of the Snow God Mountain. If they really let them fight one-on-one, I'm afraid no one can survive. As soon as the remaining disciples of the Snow God Mountain set up the formation, they were shocked to find that they had actually lost 3 demigods and 6 saint-level masters here. Dead. All 4 of them are dead. Someone suddenly gritted his teeth and said, "It's so terrifying, so powerful." Another saint-level strongman from Snow God Mountain was even more incredulous. It was so easy. To kill 3 demigods from our snow god mountain? I just heard a strange sound. Senior brother Antonia Theodore's body was blown up like that. It seems that this magic circle is not lethal, but its concealment ability is very strong. Combined with these assassins, it is simply our nightmare. Yeah, what should we do now? This group of disciples from Snow God Mountain were shocked by the power of the opponent's previous attack. They now have an idea that the magic cornerstone that appeared in front of them might be a trap, just to lure them here. The power of the hunting god gun is really amazing. 3 demigods died in one attack. This has never happened in the past 100 years. The magic cornerstone just now is gone. The disciples of the Snow God Mountain who were present carefully scanned the surroundings and could no longer see the magic cornerstone they had just discovered. Is this a special effect of the magic array? Psychedelic? If that's the case, everything we see here may not be real. The illusion array is a small matter. The sneak attacker hidden in the darkness is the key. He may give us a fatal blow at any time. Under the suppression of our snow dragon array, the dark element has weakened a lot. We can directly use the snow dragon array as our eyes, so that we can react in time. How can this small empire's subordinate force have such means? The god hunters fired a few more shots in the darkness, but these shots were only able to kill a saint level strongman under the interference of the snow dragon array. It's really worthy of being a hidden force. It can actually have such means. For a moment, the god hunters felt that they had no idea where to start. Yunfan's dark magic array and the snow dragon array formed by the snow god mountain suppressed and entangled each other. Increase the power of the snow dragon shadow, use the snow dragon shadow to its full potential, and use violence to break the magic circle. Chesterton Abraham was silent for a moment, and suddenly spoke. If we use the snow dragon formation to its full potential, the energy we need to consume is really too great. Some of the disciples of the Snow God Mountain present were tempted, while others were hesitant. But we can't just keep on being deadlocked. If we keep on being deadlocked like this, I'm afraid we'll die here. Chesterton Abraham's face was terribly gloomy. To be honest, this formation called the Snow Dragon formation does have some merits. It can actually borrow the power of others. Sakadin said, this formation is not common even in the God's continent. Are you really not going to help them? I have my own plans. If they are really in danger, I will definitely help them, but not now. You kidders really? Forget it, do whatever you want. Sakadin just ignored Yunfan, because he knew that Yunfan was very opinionated, and the things he decided rarely went wrong. Although Yunfan's tone was very casual, his spirit was indeed tense, ready to rescue at any time. These people are all his direct lineage. If he loses them here for training, this is not what he wants. In the future, he wants to take these men to do something in the God's continent. Snow Dragon goes to sea. The disciples of the Snow God Mountain were all in full battle formation and shouted loudly at the same time. The Snow Dragon that was lying beside Panhang suddenly seemed to come alive. It let out a long roar and rushed into the darkness. The Snow Dragon emitted a powerful energy wave, which instantly swept a passage in the dark magic circle. The entire dark magic circle was on the verge of collapse after being rushed by the Snow Dragon. The faces of the people in the dark magic circle changed drastically. The powerful aura emitted by the Snow Dragon brought them a great sense of oppression. They were very worried that the magic circle would be overwhelmed and collapse in an instant. What a strong attack. It has caught up with the low-level attack of the lower gods. Sakadin was amazed. Bang. Kill. Break this magic circle. A roar of killing came from a distance, which startled the god hunters in the magic circle. Everyone, don't panic. Pay attention to hiding your body, and don't expose yourself easily. The person in charge of the magic circle said in a deep voice. Chapter 662. All means used to. At this moment. Whoosh. The surrounding fog composed of dark elements suddenly weakened a lot, and the original cold feeling disappeared without a trace in an instant. Let's leave here now, go forward, and move forward quickly. Chesterton Abraham pointed in a direction and said. After hearing Chesterton Abraham's words, the disciples of Zushan Mountain present hesitated for a moment, and then hurried to act, but when they evacuated, they accidentally left a floor. The snipers of the hunting god took this opportunity to show the fangs of the venomous snake, and 2 more saint level strongmen fell on the spot in an instant. It's really a pity. I didn't leave that demigod behind. Number 1 sighed involuntarily. The disciples of Zushan Mountain all looked ugly, and their mentality had changed drastically since they first came. At first, they came to play with the mood of taking advantage of the loophole to get the mithril mine, but they were shocked that so many people died not long after. They originally thought that, as long as they were careful, all dangers would disappear. But now they really have to fight for their lives. We must do our best. Anyone who has any means to save their lives should use them. Chesterton Abraham. This time it's a life and death battle. If they don't die, then we will die. I shouldn't have been greedy earlier. I'm leaving the good life in the mountains and robbing the mithril mine. Although they were worried, they still had to fight to the utmost in order to survive. Although these people escaped from the attack range of number 1 and number 2, they did enter the attack range of number 5 and number 6. Number 5 and number 6 were already hungry and thirsty, ready to kill. No 5. Number 6. Shoot. The voice of the person in charge of the magic circle sounded in his ears. You actually followed us here to take advantage of us, then die. The eyes of the snipers number 5 and number 6 flashed with a fierce light, and the hunting gods in their hands shot out a beam of fire, and then 2 more saint level strongmen fell. The black fog was like smoke, and it was almost impossible to see anything. Because of the sniping of number 1 and number 2, the disciples of Zushan Mountain focused their attention on the direction of number 1 and number 2. Although they could not find their exact location, they could still sense a rough idea. We can't crack this magic circle. We can only go out if we go all the way to the end. The surviving disciples of Zushan Mountain were moving forward with a little thought. At the same time, they took out all the things that saved their lives. Go to hell. The murderous intent flashed in the eyes of the number 4 sniper. It was not easy for a disciple of Zushan Mountain to reveal a flaw. A successful sniper must grasp the timing, and the number 4 sniper has a high talent in this regard. Another saint level disciple of Zushan Mountain lost his life. How can the damn attack be everywhere? The surviving disciples of Zushan Mountain were all shocked. A triangular-eyed disciple of Zushan Mountain with horror in his eyes directly covered his chest. What? The disciples of Zushan Mountain present were all terrified. They were killed 2 companions in a row while maintaining the formation. In the next few dozen minutes, several more disciples of the Snow God Mountain were shot dead by sniper rifles. I surrender. At this time, one of the disciples of the Snow God Mountain was really driven crazy and shouted loudly, I surrender too. As the first disciple of the Snow God Mountain spoke, other disciples of the Snow God Mountain shouted in an endless stream. Although the disciples of the Snow God Mountain have always been self-righteous and looked down on the people of the ordinary empire, they have to give up their dignity in front of life. All this is to survive. Even Yunfan did not expect that these disciples of the Snow God Mountain would surrender regardless of their dignity. How could he know that these disciples of the Snow God Mountain are still pampered? They are either saints or demigods. They can live for a long time. Who wants to die if they can live? This is the so-called human heart. Yunfan sighed slightly. When he first came to this world, he also struggled desperately to survive. At this moment, a voice suddenly came out from the dark magic circle. You swear in the name of the God of creation. If we spare you, you will lay down your weapons and surrender. What? Don't push your luck. The disciples of Zushan Mountain roared loudly. Although they had decided to surrender, they didn't want to give up all their dignity. You said you want to surrender. Who knows if there are any conspiracies? If not, we will fight to the end. The voice from the magic circle was firm. The remaining disciples of Zushan Mountain hesitated for a moment and finally decided to give in. They swore in the name of the God of creation that they would never resist if they laid down their weapons. The most powerful oath in this world is to swear in the name of the God of creation, and the second is to swear in the name of the gods they believe in. Although no one has seen the God of creation, this universe operates according to the will of the God of creation. So apart from controlling the power of the law of destiny, there is basically no power that can resist the oath in the name of the God of creation. Therefore, generally speaking, no professional swears in the name of the God of creation, because once the oath is taken, if it is not done according to the oath, it will be punished by the laws of the entire universe and the oath will come true. These disciples of Zushan Mountain actually have other plans. Although they cannot resist, they can escape directly after finding an opportunity. In this way, they will not violate the oath and will not be punished by the laws of the universe. Their plan is very perfect, but they don't know that Yunfan has a dark middle level god Sakadan who has lived for thousands of years in his head. After discovering the mithril mine, Sakadan has a special prop that can suppress the power of demigods and gods. The reason why he didn't tell Yunfan before was because the indispensable material for this transparent prop that can suppress the power of demigods and gods is mithril. At that time, there was no mithril, and even if you said it, it could not be made. At this time, a passage suddenly appeared in the diffuse black mist, and then a figure walked out of the passage. Seeing that the man was only a 7th level strength, the disciples of Zushan Mountain relaxed one by one. In their opinion, this was just a small shrimp, and had no ability to threaten them at all. In their opinion, the one hiding in the darkness and hunting down the demigods of Snow God Mountain should be at least a demigod level existence. How could they know that the person who appeared was number 1 in the God Hunter team? Chapter 663 Sealing Ring. It was he who hunted down a demigod and 2 saints from the darkness. What are you doing here alone, little brother? Although the disciples of the Snow God Mountain did not take the ant in front of them seriously, they still said in a friendly manner, "I'm here to put the sealing ring on you under the order of our Lord King Yizi Bing Ziyang." Number 1 said in a calm tone. Although his tone was very calm, his heart was not calm at all. The people in front of him were all demigods, figures that he had previously considered unattainable. Sealing ring? What is that? A demigod of the Snow God Mountain asked in confusion, and at the same time he was filled with uneasiness. The sealing ring is a treasure invented by our Lord King Yizi Bing Ziyang. It can temporarily imprison the power in your body. Number 1 said, "What? How can there be such a thing in this world?" After hearing what number 1 said, the faces of the disciples of the Snow God Mountain changed drastically. "There are many things you don't know." A hint of mockery appeared in number 1's eyes. These unattainable figures, with the words of the hunting god in his hand, can be knocked down with one shot. You little thing. The disciples of Zushan Mountain showed unwillingness in their eyes. Although they were very angry, they did not have the courage to attack. Once they took action, the enemies hiding in the darkness would definitely attack them again. We accept your suggestion. In fact, these disciples of Zushan Mountain still had a fluke in their hearts. That is, the so-called sealing ring had no effect at all, but they were destined to be disappointed. The moment the sealing ring was put on them, they immediately felt that the elemental power in their bodies was suppressed by a very strange force, and they could no longer use a little bit of power. All the members of the hunting god squad came out, and the disciples of Zushan Mountain looked at the hunting god squad in disbelief. "We were defeated by you? How is this possible? Your strongest is only level 8, and our weakest is the saint level. So what if the saint level demigod? He was hunted by us." The members of the hunting god squad showed extremely excited expressions. All the disciples of Zushan Mountain were locked up. "How are you going to deal with these guys from Zushan Mountain?" Sakadan asked. "Let's see how much ransom the people of Zushan Mountain will pay." Yunfan said calmly, "It's better to make a big fuss about this matter, so that others know that we are not easy to bully." Just as Yunfan expected, the news that Zushan Mountain came to seize the mithril mine was soon spread out. When many people heard about this, they wanted to get a share of the pie. However, when they learned about the ending of Zushan Mountain, they couldn't help but start to hesitate. The disciples of Zushan Mountain were all lessons learned from the past. Before they figured out Yunfan's trump card, they dared not act rashly. If they were defeated here, it would be embarrassing and hurtful. After getting a lot of benefits from Zushan Mountain, it seems that no one will come to provoke me in the short term. Yunfan breathed a sigh of relief. "We must hurry up to develop new weapons." The next day, Avril came to Yunfan's Yizibingjian palace. "Princess Avril, why are you here? Are you not used to living here?" Yunfan asked curiously when he saw Avril's sudden visit. "Dante, I came here this time to ask you to help me save my father. My father must have been coerced by someone, otherwise he would not have driven me out of the imperial capital. Now you are the only one I can rely on." Avril looked like a pear blossom in the rain, no longer as willful as before. After experiencing so many things, she has become mature. Ji Yunfan thought for a moment, then nodded. I will arrange things here first, and then we will set off. Ji Yunfan is not the kind of ungrateful person. He has his own code of conduct. When he first came to this continent, Avril and Avril's father treated him well. If it weren't for them, he might have died on this continent long ago. In addition, he was very curious about what happened over there. If this matter involved the Destruction Clan and the Immortal Legion, he would never allow them to destroy the world. Since he got the crystal of the world, he has been half the master of this world, but his current strength is not strong enough, so he doesn't want others to know that the crystal of the world is in his hands. In this world full of uncertainties, making a fortune quietly is the best way to go. Ji Yunfan didn't bring many people with him to the Imperial capital this time. Because if he brought too many people, he would be a big target, and it would be very inconvenient to move. He and his men disguised themselves as a caravan. Ji Yunfan accompanied Avril in the carriage, which was moving slowly. Avril was a little anxious. Since her mother died, her father was the person closest to her. She was eager to know the news of her father. Dante, what do you think about your father's current situation? At this moment, she had regarded Ji Yunfan as her life-saving straw. She had never felt so powerless. She already resented why she didn't study magic well. What is the current situation in the Imperial capital? No one knows. I can't draw conclusions secretly. Ji Yunfan shook his head slightly and did not answer directly, but according to what Avril said, the situation in the Imperial capital was definitely not much better. Even if Avril's father was not dead, he should have been stripped of his power. The team hadn't walked far, but Ji Yunfan had already frowned because he found that someone was following them. He just didn't know what these people were planning. Did something happen to the young master? O'Neil Leonard noticed that Ji Yunfan's expression was not right and asked hurriedly, Uncle O'Neil, not long after we set out, several groups of people followed us. Ji Yunfan said in a flat tone. What? O'Neil Leonard's face changed immediately. As Ji Yunfan's butler, he didn't even notice that the team was being followed. This was definitely his dereliction of duty. Do you want me to deal with them? Uncle O'Neil, don't do it for now. I want to see how many people are interested in our trip to the Imperial capital this time. Ji Yunfan said. But isn't this trip to the Imperial capital a secret operation? O'Neil Leonard said after a slight hesitation. So this matter is even more interesting. Chapter 664, Traitor. Master, you mean that one of our people has been infiltrated? O'Neil Leonard's face was terribly gloomy. It's not necessarily our people who have been infiltrated. Ji Yunfan couldn't help but glance at the person behind Avril. The man behind Avril saw Ji Yunfan looking at him and couldn't help but be slightly startled, but soon recovered. Although his expression was only a flash, it was still captured by Ji Yunfan. Tell me who sent you? Ji Yunfan had already noticed that there was something wrong with Avril's subordinates when Avril just came, so he directly sent someone to investigate their identities, and finally determined that the guy behind Avril might have a problem. Lord Yeezy Bing Xiang Wang, what are you talking about? Why can't I understand? The man's eyes were already a little flustered, but he still wanted to quibble. Princess Avril. Dante, what are you doing? Avril couldn't help but be slightly stunned when she heard her subordinates asking for help. Avril, don't you find that the guy behind you is behaving abnormally? Ji Yunfan responded calmly. What do you mean? Avril's face changed and she looked directly at the man behind her. Swinburne Osvid, tell me what's going on. Princess Avril, don't listen to the nonsense of King Yeezy Bing Xiang. I, Swinburne Osvid, am loyal to the royal family. Swinburne Osvid explained hurriedly. Avril, didn't you say that every time you escape from death, someone will find you quickly? Ji Yunfan said in a deep voice. Don't you think you have never doubted it all along? Ji Yunfan asked 2 questions in a row. Avril was silent. In fact, when she was fleeing, she found that there was something abnormal here, but she just didn't want to think about it all along. It seems that you have known it for a long time. I suspected it, but I didn't want to believe it. Avril's expression was a little sad. I'm sorry, Princess Avril. Swinburne Osvid said with a hint of sadness. Tell me why. Avril asked calmly. Swinburne Osvid shook his head slightly, and then a mouthful of black blood spit out from his mouth. He actually hid poison in his mouth. Damn it. Ji Yunfan never thought that the other party would be so decisive, as if he had already expected that he would be caught. This kind of person is usually a Deadpool. It seems that the clue seems to be broken. That's not necessarily the case, Ji Yunfan said while looking for something on Swinburne Osvid's body. Suddenly, a sun-shaped pattern on his left arm caught Ji Yunfan's attention, and then he said to himself, did I say that he was a member of the sun god cult? It's possible, but there is also a great possibility that he wants to frame the sun god cult. I'm now more and more curious about what kind of organization the sun god cult is. How many masters are there in it? A strange buzzing sound suddenly came from the bracelet on Avril's hand, like the low hum of an unknown insect, which made Ji Yunfan frown slightly. Feeling the changes on the bracelet, Avril's face suddenly changed, and she looked very surprised. Avril, did something happen? The bracelet still made a strange sound, and it kept shaking, as if it had a soul that wanted to escape from Avril's control and fly away. Avril did not answer, but jumped out of the car directly. Avril, where are you going? You can't leave alone. Ji Yunfan chased after her while talking. Avril, what's going on? Why did this bracelet suddenly react so strongly? Ji Yunfan had already caught up with Avril. Seeing her stop under a tree, he hurried over to ask. Holding the trembling bracelet tightly, Avril also seemed a little puzzled. She shook her head and quickly replied, I don't know what's going on either. I just vaguely heard a voice telling me to come here. The bracelet was no longer trembling while she was speaking, as if nothing had happened. How did you get this bracelet? Ji Yunfan asked with a frown. My father taught me before I left the imperial capital. He told me to protect this bracelet well. There is news about my mother in it, Avril said. Didn't your mother die a long time ago? I have always thought so, but when I left the imperial capital, my father told me that my mother was not dead. I asked him about my mother's news, but he kept silent. After hearing what Avril said, Ji Yunfan's heart moved, as if he had grasped something vaguely. He closed his eyes slightly. He released the shadow demon, which he had not used for a long time. Now his strength has reached the demigod level. The shadow demon he released is more hidden. If ordinary demigods do not pay attention, they will never find its existence. With the help of the shadow demon's perspective, Ji Yunfan has a grasp of the situation within a radius of dozens of miles. Even the teams that followed him were clearly understood by him. A relatively thin figure suddenly caught Ji Yunfan's attention. From the figure's body shape, it can be determined that this figure belongs to a girl. There is also a meaningful bracelet on the girl's hand. She is peeking at Avril in the dark. Ji Yunfan did not feel a trace of murderous aura on that person. Ji Yunfan touched his chin and did not say this. Who is this person who secretly observes Avril? Ji Yunfan sent out several more shadow demons. Through the eyes of these shadow demons, Ji Yunfan observed the figure. The woman in black and veiled clothes revealed only a pair of sapphire-like eyes that showed a joyful and tangled expression. Ji Yunfan's men ran over in a panic, and O'Neil Leonard was even more alert. He put one hand on the giant axe behind him and looked around carefully, fearing that Ji Yunfan and his men would encounter any accidents. The petite figure saw that the number of people here was gradually increasing, and perhaps because she was afraid of being discovered, she quietly left. The petite figure naturally didn't know that there was an invisible eye behind her staring at her. Not long after, the petite figure appeared in a team that followed Ji Yunfan and his men. Your Majesty, I wonder where you went just now? Chapter 665 being followed. Do I need to report where I'm going? The petite figure said expressionlessly. My men dare not. But if it's because of Her Majesty the Saint that we can't complete the mission, and the Pope blames us, the man hurriedly explained. If it's because of me, then I will take the blame. The petite figure flashed a cold light and seemed to be not at all interested in the Pope mentioned by the other party. The Saint, the Pope. It seems to be getting more and more interesting. But what is the identity of this woman? What is her relationship with Avril? Ji Yunfan was about to let the shadow demon get closer, and the petite figure suddenly raised his head and looked in the direction of the shadow demon. Such a sensitive perception, I'm afraid it's comparable to the demigod level. This journey will probably be very interesting. After a day of traveling, everyone was exhausted. In an unknown town, Ji Yunfan decided to rest for a night before leaving. What Ji Yunfan didn't expect was that the petite woman would choose to stay in the hotel where they were staying. "Boss, do you have any vacant rooms?" the petite woman asked, after glancing at the room where Avril lived. A middle-aged woman with a bloated figure stood behind the counter with a book in her hand and said, "Yes, of course we have. My dear guest, I wonder what level you want." "What levels do you have here?" the petite woman asked with a smile. "There are ordinary rooms, which cost 3 gold coins per night, and deluxe rooms, which cost 10 gold coins per night. I wonder which one my dear guest is going to stay in?" the bloated middle-aged woman asked with her eyes slightly narrowed. "Then stay in the deluxe room," the petite woman said casually, not caring about the 10 gold coins at all. "Okay, dear guest, I'll register for you right away." Nodding, the petite woman said softly, "I like sunshine very much. I think the sunshine on this side of the corridor is very bright. Are there any vacancies around? If there are, I'll stay here." The woman's eyes lit up, and she turned around twice, quickly flipping through the registration records in her hand, and then pointed to a room not far from where Avril lived and said, "There is a vacant room here, but the conditions are not the best in the hotel. If the distinguished guest doesn't mind, you can stay in this room." "No problem, I'll take this room. You can take care of the rest, boss lady." The petite woman said this softly, took out 10 gold coins from the space ring, put them on the table, and then glanced at Avril's room with her bright gem-like eyes. The owner of the hotel quickly completed the registration, hurriedly took out a key from the counter, helped the petite woman open the door and let her in. Ji Yunfan had already seen clearly what was happening outside. What is the identity of this woman? She must be related to Avril, and she chose that room to get close to this little girl Avril. O'Neil Leonard also saw a little bit of the situation just now. Now, after hearing what Ji Yunfan said, he immediately nodded in agreement and said solemnly, "This woman is very extraordinary. Her strength should not be worse than mine. And judging from the way this person is dressed, she should belong to a certain temple. I just don't know what her plan is. We have to be careful." O'Neil Leonard thought for a while and said solemnly, "It's okay. She shouldn't have any bad intentions towards us. Appearing here at this time, her origin is not simple." A faint fragrance was inhaled by Ji Yunfan in the middle of the night. A slight dizziness suddenly hit him, and then he woke up all of a sudden. No one knew that his physical body had reached the realm of a mid-level artifact, and the world power in his body had a magical effect. As soon as Ji Yunfan inhaled the faint fragrance into his chest and lungs, the world power in his body automatically started to work. As soon as he felt dizzy, the smell inhaled into his chest and lungs was removed from his body in the blink of an eye under the action of the world power, and the slight dizziness that had just occurred also disappeared. Oh no, I wonder how Avril and the others are doing. His body is very special and can resist this drug, but it does not mean that others can resist it. It seems that this store is the legendary Black Store. Ji Yunfan opened a corner of the window and found that it was already late at night. All the rooms were shrouded in darkness. Only Avril's room seemed to have a faint light, and low conversations came from it. When Ji Yunfan held his breath and wanted to find out what was going on, he found that there was a special plant like violet in the courtyard of the hotel. From this special plant, a strange fragrance emanated, which was the same fragrance that Ji Yunfan had just smelled. Frowning, Ji Yunfan was almost certain that this hotel was definitely a black shop. He quietly opened the door and took out a black nightgown from the space ring and wrapped it around his body. While doing so, Ji Yunfan used the power of the world to skillfully cover up all the aura on his body, and his heartbeat and breathing were readjusted to a very difficult to detect frequency. "Boss, all the guests in this hotel have been knocked out by the magic grass." Just after arriving at Avril's room and putting his ear down, Ji Yunfan heard a low voice coming from below. "Yeah." The fat woman inside responded softly. In a hall similar to the room where Ji Yunfan lived, several guys had fainted. Among them were the petite woman and even O'Neil Leonard. It can be seen that the aura emitted by this plant is definitely beyond imagination. There was nothing special about the remaining fainted hotel guests. They should have come here to do business and did not attract Ji Yunfan's attention. Ji Yunfan became more and more curious about what this black shop wanted to do. "Boss lady, what should we do?" The oldest of the three waiters standing there respectfully asked. The boss lady, contrary to her usual behavior, looked around at the people around her with sharp eyes and said, "Take away all the valuables from these people." Seeing his boss lady say this, the man who asked the question quickly took action. Chapter 666 Black Shop. The short and fat middle-aged woman waved her hand and said casually, "The old rules. Find out the identities of these people, deal with those who are worthless immediately, and lock up all the valuable ones." As soon as this sentence came out, Yunfan immediately became nervous. In the hall below, besides Avril, there were many subordinates. Yunfan couldn't watch his subordinates being killed like this. Are you guys' actions a bit too much? Before Yunfan could take action, the petite woman who was supposed to be unconscious suddenly spoke. While speaking, the petite woman stood up from her lying position and walked to Avril in 3 or 2 steps. Yunfan, who was ready to take action, stopped immediately after seeing this change and observed the development of the next situation. "Hey, you can still stay awake under the influence of the psychedelic grass. It's really not simple," the short and fat woman exclaimed in surprise. "I don't care who you are, but your actions really make me angry. Let everyone go. I won't care about what you did." The petite woman snorted expressionlessly. "What are you waiting for? Let me see what magical power this woman has." The short and fat woman's eyes flashed with cold light without any nonsense. She immediately waved her hand and signaled her men to kill the petite woman. Under the short and fat woman's order, the short and fat woman's men showed dark murderous intent in their eyes. They took out their weapons and surrounded the petite woman. "Since you don't listen to my advice, don't blame me." The petite woman glared at several people fiercely and took out a green staff directly from the space ring. At this time, the flying insects within 100 miles seemed to be driven by some kind of power and all gathered towards the location of the petite woman. "The power of nature? Are you a member of the goddess of nature?" The short and fat woman's face changed slightly and she said in disbelief. "The power of nature? The goddess of nature?" Yunfan felt a little confused. Could it be a hidden force? This is life magic. Isn't it said that only the elves can master it? If you can master it, then others can master it too. It's just that there are very few humans with life attributes. Nothing is absolute. At the same time, a towering tree in the yard, with its lush branches also being pulled by some kind of force, began to grow wildly. No wonder the psychedelic grass doesn't work on you. The short and fat woman seemed to have figured out a lot. Yunfan, who was hiding in the darkness, could clearly see everything that happened through a narrow gap. Those flying insects gathered around the petite woman from all directions. The branches of the towering tree drilled into the house and began to spread wildly. The petite woman's eyes revealed a strong murderous intent. "Are you sure you want to fight me? Don't do it yet." At this moment, the short and fat woman suddenly snorted coldly. The subordinates of the short and fat woman who surrounded the petite woman, under the command of the short and fat woman, almost simultaneously attacked the petite woman. When several people made such a move, Yunfan, who was watching, was immediately surprised. These people were actually magic swordsmen who practiced both martial arts and magic. The 4 forces of wind, fire, water, and electricity were actually intertwined. Their weapons seemed to be specially made in a special way, and their attack methods were also very different from the popular attack methods. The attacks of several people actually complemented each other to increase their combat power and speed. This was very rare. You are actually magic swordsmen who had practiced the method of mutual assistance. No wonder you dare to be so unscrupulous. The petite woman said coldly when they attacked. "Tell me, which kingdom of God are you from?" "Humph. You don't have to worry about where we are from." "Really? Then I'll take you down first." At this moment, the vines that were spreading wildly in the house danced like soft chains, and they whipped at the short and fat woman and his men like long whips. At the same time, the petite woman took a step back and picked up the sleeping Avril. The vines not far away suddenly seemed to come alive, growing wildly again at a very fast speed, and spreading to the entire room, and then rolled towards the people inside. All things grow. A low cry came from the mouth of the petite woman. The whole world seemed to fall into green. "You are the saint of the natural god church, Soul Chris. Damn it, aren't you imprisoned in the natural god realm? How could you appear here? It seems that you know everything about me, the petite woman said calmly. Yunfan, who was hiding in the dark, was about to rescue his men, but he stopped after hearing the conversation between the two people. The petite woman controlled the surrounding vines and brought all the unconscious people out of the hotel. Your Excellency King Li Bing Ziyang, it's time for you to come out, right? You have been peeping there for quite a while. Yunfan couldn't help but frown slightly. He never thought that this short woman could actually find his whereabouts. Seeing that his whereabouts were exposed, Yunfan knew that he didn't want to hide anymore. He jumped out of the shadows and walked to the petite woman very easily. Thank you, senior, for saving all my men. Yunfan couldn't tell the depth of the woman in front of him. As soon as Yunfan opened his mouth, the petite woman was stunned for a moment and couldn't help but look at Yunfan strangely. You actually have the breath of the goddess on you. Have you seen the goddess? The breath of the goddess. Yunfan couldn't help but be stunned when he heard this. When did he have the breath of the goddess? Wait, the goddess of nature, could it be the former elf goddess? You didn't faint. At this time, the short and fat woman had walked out of the hotel and was also surprised when she saw Yunfan. Let's get rid of these guys first and then have a good chat, how about it? The petite woman said. Okay, I also want to know how you can have the breath of the goddess. The petite woman responded, and then she waved the magic wand in her hand, and the plant that had grown wildly, unexpectedly grew wildly again. Chapter 667, The Saint of the Goddess of Nature. A strange hissing sound was heard, and what surprised the petite woman and Yunfan was that the fat woman bound by the vines suddenly mutated and turned into a monster with a height of more than 3 meters and horns on her head. Just a glance gave people a creepy feeling. The petite woman frowned and thought. The monster was full of power, giving people a strong deterrent and impact. Evil spirit god, are you from the Immortal Legion? As soon as the monster appeared here, the petite woman's face changed drastically and shouted in horror. You guessed it right. The monster said this viciously. You must die today. The monster rushed directly towards the petite woman, and the vines that blocked the surroundings grew wildly and entangled the monster. However, before the vines entangled the monster's legs and feet, the sturdy monster suddenly broke all the vines that entangled his body with a sudden force. With each step, the evil spirit's heavy footsteps on the ground made a loud rumbling sound, like an earthquake. Under the guidance of the petite woman, the tree in the courtyard began to slowly interweave its slender branches, turning into vines thicker than a human waist. Then it suddenly pulled towards the monster. The monster found that the attack was about to come and let out a long howl. Then its tail covered with barbs swept across its body and hit the thick vine directly. The thick vine, which was originally coming fiercely, was hit by the monster's tail, and its tail directly pierced the vine deeply. With the monster's fierce force, the thick vine was also directly broken and scattered all over the ground. A mysterious spell suddenly came out of the petite woman's mouth, and natural magic was instantly added to the vine. The vine came back again, entangled crazily, and fell towards the monster like a whip. However, the attack that had great killing power against humans and animals did not have much effect on the monster. I have a strong magical immunity to any element, so don't waste your efforts. The monster looked down at the petite woman below and said in a buzzing voice, Saint, please protect the others and leave this monster to me. Yunfan snorted coldly, and when he said this, he turned into a flash of lightning and rushed towards the monster, aiming directly at the monster. Don't be impulsive. This monster is not simple. Seeing Yunfan rushing out, the petite woman hurriedly warned. The courtyard of the hotel is not big, nor is it small. With Yunfan's speed, he appeared at the feet of the monster almost the moment the woman spoke. Even if Yunfan had arrived in front of her, the monster didn't care at all. She really didn't take Yunfan seriously. After rushing to the monster's feet quickly, Yunfan threw a punch with an expressionless face. On the surface, this punch seemed tepid, but how could a powerful blow containing Yunfan's world power be simple? When the fist landed on the monster wailed. How is it possible? How did you do it? The monster shouted loudly, with an incredible look in his eyes. Don't worry about how I did it. When Yunfan appeared next to the monster again, the monster seemed to be frightened and suddenly retreated backwards. Damn, His body is so strong. The monster cursed. Stop him quickly. Stop him quickly. The monster shouted loudly. After hearing the master's order, the monster's original subordinates flew up with magic swords, and their weapons instantly burst into dazzling light. After approaching Yunfan, the monster's subordinates immediately launched a crazy attack. Yunfan smiled coldly. This seemingly powerful attack was just a joke in his eyes. Yunfan could deal a devastating blow to those below the saint level with his physical body. The extremely powerful impact force directly rushed the monster several meters away. The monster's subordinates were already careful enough about Yunfan, but when they really faced him, they found that they were too weak. Yunfan waved the long sword in his hand, feeling a little helpless. Since the loss of the Daoluo sword, he felt that many weapons were not very convenient, and the most important thing was that they were easy to damage. Yunfan suddenly shot out at an astonishing speed and stabbed directly at one of them. The long sword in Yunfan's hand fell on the man's chest at a high speed. Be careful. Several people nearby had also noticed Yunfan's increased speed and immediately screamed to remind him. The man was startled, and it was too late to resist again. He immediately rolled over to avoid it, but a large piece of flesh and blood was cut off by the long sword in Yunfan's hand, and he cried and grimaced in pain. A sharp whistle sounded in the void, which was the sound of tearing space. Yunfan's speed was too fast. In the darkness, Yunfan showed a shocking speed and quickly shuttled among several people. There were two light puffs, like the sound of a stick-piercing wallpaper. Before these people figured out what happened, they suddenly felt a chill in their chests. They looked down and found that a blood hole was directly pierced through their chests, and blood spurted out like an arrow. How could this happen? Impossible. With two thumps, the two people who looked down and saw the blood hole in their chests fell to their knees, and their eyes were full of disbelief until they died. Die with eyes open. Then Yunfan turned around, and his speed suddenly increased to a higher level. The perfect world of the demigod domain. At this moment, the monster seemed to be pulled by an invisible big hand, and it couldn't move at all. Damn it, bastard, what did you do? Why can't I move? A sharp voice came out of the monster's mouth, which was a kind of extreme despair. Since she was transformed into a monster, she has never encountered such a weird situation. Die. Yunfan expressionlessly urged the domain to extract all the element around the monster. The monster was like an explosion, with red eyes, and screaming in despair. Yunfan had no intention of being merciful. Everyone in the Immortal Legion could kill it, and the Destruction Clan was all crazy. No, I surrender, let me go. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 668, Avel's Mother. It's better for you to die, Yunfan said lightly. The monster finally suffocated to death. Yunfan breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, he was not relieved. Yunfan really didn't want to use such a cruel method, but in order to get rid of this monster as soon as possible, Yunfan still used it. Your body is really strong. The petite woman couldn't help but admire. I know this without you telling me. I'm very curious about your identity. What is your relationship with Avril? Yunfan looked up and down at the petite woman. Haven't you heard about my identity from them? The saint of the goddess of nature. The petite woman showed a mocking smile on her face. As for what you said about me being related to Avril, it's okay to tell you, I'm his mother. Avril said that her mother had died a long time ago. Although Yunfan had guessed this result, he still asked back. This is a long story. You just need to know that I will not do anything bad to you. The petite woman did not continue to tell her difficulties. And seeing her so close, I'm already very satisfied. By the way, I hope you don't take her to the imperial capital. The situation there is very complicated now. I will find an appropriate opportunity to take her farther away from the imperial capital. And please don't tell her about my existence for the time being. Even if I don't take her to the imperial capital, according to Avril's personality, she will go by herself. Yunfan said lightly. The petite woman looked at Avril in her arms with a complicated expression. Can you promise me to protect her well? Why don't you protect her by yourself? With your strength, there shouldn't be many people who can hurt him, right? Yunfan asked instead of answering. My current situation is somewhat special. Staying with her may bring her more trouble. The petite woman sighed slightly and looked at Avril in her arms again with some reluctance. I'm afraid that many people have noticed me when I took action just now. If we are destined, we will meet again. The petite woman handed Avril to Yunfan while speaking. I sensed something strange on that woman. After the petite woman left, Sakadin suddenly said, "Oh, you actually said it was a strange thing. It should be very interesting. That woman has ignited the divine fire. Do you mean that she is already a god?" Yunfan was slightly surprised. It's not accurate to say that she is a god. To be precise, she should be a quasi-god. There is a contractual force binding her. I'm afraid that the contractual force comes from the goddess of nature. Sakadin said. I didn't expect that this goddess of nature, who is known for justice, is also like this. Yunfan shook his head slightly and sighed. That woman has good qualifications. If she is given a few thousand more years, it will be no problem for her to become a middle-level god. I can sense it from the power of the contract on her body, and the goddess of nature who used the power of the contract to bind her is at most a middle-level god. It should be that the goddess of nature felt threatened. If possible, it's okay to help her, Yunfan said as he took Avril back to the hotel. When Avril woke up from her deep sleep, it was almost dawn. The warm sunlight shone into the room through the window gap, leaving spots of light on the floor, making the whole room quite bright. Standing up, Avril felt dizzy and had no strength in her body. She sat on the bed with sleepy eyes for a long time and shook her head, which was gradually regaining consciousness. What's wrong with me? Why do I feel like I have a serious illness? After he washed up and walked out of the room, he found that the hotel was in a mess, as if it had experienced a war. What happened here? Why did the boss lady and the others disappear? Hearing Avril's words, Yunfan, who was washing, quickly wiped the water stains on his face and walked out of the room. After walking out of the room, the slightly dazzling sunlight suddenly shone in. Yunfan closed his eyes habitually and cast his eyes on Avril not far away. We accidentally stayed in a black shop. What? Avril was startled by Yunfan's words and couldn't help asking, what happened last night? You were knocked unconscious by them using a kind of soul-stirring grass last night. Yunfan did not take all the credit on himself. He described the petite woman as a chivalrous adventurer. I didn't expect so many things to happen last night. Avril sighed after hearing this. If I hadn't been knocked unconscious last night, I could have seen the style of the adventurer you mentioned. After hearing what Yunfan said, Yunfan's men were annoyed and blamed themselves and vowed that this kind of thing would never happen next time. Yunfan shook his head slightly and said to his men, it's not your fault. Those guys hid too deeply. After breakfast, everyone started to hurry on their way. Perhaps because of the battle that night, the several pairs of people who had followed chose to leave quietly. After more than a day of traveling, everyone came to a city called Celia. Yunfan decided to take the teleportation array directly to the imperial capital. Of course, before the teleportation, Avril changed into men's clothes and dressed up as a heroic boy. After arriving at the imperial capital, Yunfan took Avril directly to the yard he bought in the imperial capital. Then he strolled around the imperial capital and asked about some news about the palace. A lot of things happened during this period. The disappearance of Princess Avril would definitely cause some sensation in the imperial capital. However, to Zhao Yan's surprise, he did not find any news about Princess Avril in the imperial capital. Did you find out any useful information? Avril asked immediately when she saw Yunfan coming back. Hey, this imperial capital is indeed in turmoil. The news of your leaving the palace has not been spread. Yunfan shook his head. What about father? How is he now? Your Majesty has not shown up for a long time. Many things are decided by the ministers in the cabinet. Another situation is that the Stephen family has been particularly active recently. It seems that no one wants to offend them. Chapter 669. The Stephen family. What do you mean? I'm afraid the various situations in the imperial capital are closely related to the Stephen family. Forget it. No matter how many things are, I decided to make the muddy water in the imperial capital even more muddy. Yunfan said with a wicked smile. What are you going to do? Tomorrow, I will announce the news of my return, and then go to the palace to see His Majesty. Yunfan said calmly. What? You are going to see your father? It's not certain that I will see him. I just want those guys hiding in the dark to jump out of the light. But in this way, will you be in danger? Avril couldn't help but worry. Don't worry, there are not many people in this world who can hurt me. Yunfan answered with great confidence. The people of the Stephen family have been very proud recently. Since the major forces entered the world, the Stephen family has also embraced the thighs of the Ice Temple. The situation of being suppressed by the royal family has disappeared. The other families in the imperial capital are following their lead one by one. It won't take long for the royal family to replace them. Master Stephen, please spare us. An old man in his 60s or 70s knelt in front of a 16 or 17-year-old boy who was arrogant and pleaded bitterly. Old man, I like your granddaughter. This is her blessing. Don't be ungrateful. Offending our Stephen family will not end well. The boy raised his head and said loudly. At this moment, there were already many people watching here, but most of them were angry, and no one dared to speak for the old man. Damn Stephen family, they are so domineering, and your majesty doesn't care. Haven't you heard that your majesty may not be able to protect himself? A person next to the man looked around and whispered, aren't those just rumors on the streets? How can they be taken seriously? Someone objected. There is no wind without waves. I think this is probably true. The emergence of hidden forces is not something your majesty can control. It is said that any hidden force can easily destroy an empire. If the empire is destroyed, won't we all become slaves? The man who spoke was full of worry. It shouldn't be. Is it really okay to bully an old man in public? Yunfan suddenly sneered. The Stephen family is really a dog that can't change its eating habits. Dead rice. The young master of the Stephen family, who was showing off his power, was complacent. Suddenly, he heard Yunfan's sarcastic words, and couldn't help but get angry. He raised his head viciously, and looked for the person who spoke. Where did this bastard come from to insult my Stephen family? I really don't want to live. The young man glared at Yunfan fiercely. I scolded you 3 years ago, and now I'm still alive and well. Yunfan said with an evil smile. 3 years ago. The boy was slightly stunned after hearing Yunfan's words, and then his face showed a fierce look. Who are you? My name is Dante, but I like others to call me Yunfan. Dante? The boy couldn't help but frowned. This name seemed familiar, but he couldn't think of who it was for a while. However, a follower beside the boy suddenly widened his eyes after hearing Yunfan's name, and shouted in disbelief. Dante, the king of one word shoulder to shoulder? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Didn't you disappear 3 years ago? The boy remembered the name Dante, a name that once brought shame to the Stephen family. Dante, I didn't expect you to dare to come to the imperial capital. Haha, I'm the king of one word shoulder to shoulder of the empire. Where in the empire would I not dare to go? Yunfan said jokingly. Do you think the imperial capital is still the imperial capital when you came? You probably don't know that my Stephen family has joined the Water God Temple. The Water God Temple is a real extraordinary force. So what? Yunfan looked at the other party with a smile. So what? Any strong man who walks out of the Water Temple can easily kill you. Really? Why don't you find someone to try now, and let me see how awesome this Water Temple is? Arsehole, you will definitely die this time. Even the gods can't save you. He winked at the follower beside him. The follower took out a long sword directly from the space ring. The long sword was red all over, with strong energy fluctuations on it. The handle of the sword looked like a bat's mouth that was carefully carved. In the bat's mouth, a fiery red magic core as big as a baby's fist was deeply embedded. On the long sword, there were some strange fighting spirit amplification runes engraved, and the lines emitted a faint flame. Just by looking at the shape of the long sword, you can know that the thing in this guy's hand is a well-made weapon. Judging from the fire energy contained in the weapon, using this weapon to fight, the user's strength should be able to increase by 1 level. It's a good weapon, but the person using it is a little bit inferior. Die. The man swung the long sword suddenly, and the sword body turned into a black shadow, and rushed towards Yunfan. Looking at the flying sword, Yunfan did not move, allowing the long sword to carry the energy. When the long sword was only half a meter away from Yunfan's body, Yunfan stretched out his hand, and clamped the tip of the sword with 2 fingers. The magic long sword suddenly stopped in front of him. Yunfan exerted force slightly, and the long sword fell down, and inserted diagonally into the gap of the stone slab. Yunfan shrugged, pulled out the magic longsword directly from the ground, and danced randomly. Although he was a little uncomfortable, it was much better than the weapons he had used, except the Daluo sword. "I'll keep this sword," Yunfan said in a calm tone. "No, you can't do this. This is a weapon passed down from my ancestors. You can't do this." The man yelled and wanted to take the magic sword back from Yunfan. "If you keep it in your hands, you will only help the evil. It is better to give it to me." Yunfan's tone was calm but full of unquestionable. "No." Yunfan shook his head and waved his hand to knock the man out directly. "I will keep this magic sword for you first. Don't let me kill it." After Yunfan dealt with the boy's men, he slowly walked in front of the boy. "You, don't come over. You." He looked like a little wife. He was really scared. You know, the man just now was much stronger than him. If he hadn't got the man's handle, the man would never listen to him. Such a master didn't even move a single move in Yunfan's hands. If it were him, he would definitely be worse. "If you dare to hurt me, our Stephen family will never let it go. That is not something you can bear." Chapter 670 Discussions. Unbearable. How can it be unbearable? Yunfan was amused. Even now, the other party still wanted to oppress him in the name of the Stephen family. Since Yunfan was reborn on the continent, the Stephen family has been targeting him everywhere. He did not give in at that time, let alone now. "My Stephen family is now a subsidiary of the Water God Temple. If you provoke us, it is equivalent to offending the Water God Temple. The Water God Temple is a hidden force with countless saints and demigods everywhere. Do you think the Water God Temple will go to war with me for a small Stephen family like you?" Yunfan beat up the young man from the Stephen family, and then turned and left, leaving a large group of onlookers pointing and talking there. Someone actually dared to hit Stephen. Do you know who that person is? Dante, the king of one word and the founder of Grom on the west coast of the legendary empire. Is he the one who has walked step by step from a slave servant to the current king of one word? If it's him, then it explains why he hates the Stephen family so much. It is said that when he was still a slave servant, the eldest son of the Stephen family almost killed him. Later, he sent people to hunt him down more than once. Didn't they say that the king of one word has disappeared for more than 2 years? I really didn't expect that he would suddenly appear in the imperial capital. I don't know what he wants to do. Remember that the last time he came to the imperial capital, all the young masters in the imperial capital suffered. Maybe his majesty asked him to come, but not necessarily. Don't many people say that he is his majesty's illegitimate son? Many people were discussing the appearance of Yunfan in private. When Yunfan heard this, he would definitely shake his head and smile. These people really like to make random guesses. Damn it, what are you all doing? You don't even know that guy has come to the imperial capital. What does he want to do? You don't know even more. Trash. A bunch of trash. In an extremely gorgeous courtyard, a middle-aged man in gorgeous clothes roared loudly. "Sir, you don't have to care so much. This Dante is just one person. Even if he has great ability, it is impossible for him to make any big waves in the imperial capital." Opposite the middle-aged man in gorgeous clothes stood a man in black, who gave his own suggestions. "That's because you don't know him yet. News came from there 2 days ago that the hidden force Ascension suffered a lot at his hands. Even the people above me dare not touch him easily." The middle-aged man in gorgeous clothes said gloomily. "It can actually make the hidden forces suffer a lot." The man in black widened his eyes in disbelief. "Send someone to contact him now, to see what he wants to do in the imperial capital." The Stephen family is a subordinate of the Water God Temple. They should send people to trouble him. The man in black said uncertainly. It's not certain. The people of Snow God Mountain are in his hands and have suffered a lot. Before they know the other party's trump card, the people of Water God Temple should not act rashly. The middle-aged man in gorgeous clothes shook his head. Recently, restrain those guys under your command and don't let them cause trouble. If they really hit that guy's blade, I won't show up. The man in black was slightly startled. He never thought that his master would think so highly of Dante. He hurriedly responded, "Don't worry, sir, I know what to do." What is the relationship between that kid and the people of Sword God Mountain? The middle-aged man in gorgeous clothes was heard talking to himself. What is there about that place that attracts Sword God Mountain? If I had known this earlier, I would never allow that kid to get that fief. The same thing happened in many mansions in the empire. They warned their descendants not to provoke Yunfan, the evil star. At the same time in the palace, Avril's father, the dignified emperor of the empire, also learned about this from the guards. Why did this kid come to the imperial capital? I hope he can treat Avril well. Your Majesty, since you are so worried about Her Royal Highness, why did you let Her Royal Highness Princess Avril leave? Rudolph said. Teacher, you know my current situation. Those people may attack me at any time. My existence is an obstacle for them. Rudolph remained silent. Teacher, how is Kyan Lang prepared? It has been prepared for a long time and is on standby at any time, waiting for your order, Your Majesty. Rudolph's eyes showed a hint of madness. Let them stand by first. I want to see how big a storm this kid will stir up. Or is it that the teacher has a sharp eye and can find that kid among the crowd? If it weren't for Her Royal Highness, I would never have discovered his talent. Teacher, go and make arrangements. Do you know what I mean? The situation in the imperial capital was once again broken after Yunfan's arrival. Those guys who were already ready to move chose to endure one by one. In the imperial capital auction house, a guy completely wrapped in black clothes was respectfully led into the waiting room by a pretty maid. After sitting in the hall for a while, the graceful person in charge, Winnie, appeared in front of the guy wrapped in black clothes with a smile. I wonder if this gentleman has anything he wants to auction? Winnie smiled as she picked up the teapot and bent over to fill a cup of tea for the man in black. I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, but when she bent over to pour tea, her white chest swayed and loomed, and any man would feel like he couldn't take his eyes off it. Shopkeeper Winnie, there's no need to use these shameful little tricks. The man in black said in a calm tone, I want to buy something. Oh. I don't know what the gentleman wants to buy, but our imperial capital auction house has everything. Winnie said, brushing her hair. I want to buy a person's life. The man in black said indifferently. Sir, I think you've come to the wrong place. I sell everything here except my life. Winnie put away her smile. If you're here to cause trouble, please leave. Do you think I would come to you if I wasn't absolutely sure? Shadow, the ace killer of the Assassins Union. The man in black spoke calmly. Who are you? Why do you know so much? Winnie's face was terribly gloomy, and she had a silver dagger in her hand. Who I'm is not important. What's important is your identity, isn't it? Chapter 671 Rudolph's Visit. Do you believe it? I can kill you in a breath. Winnie said coldly. Of course I believe it. Killer Shadow is the king of killers, and has never failed. The man in black said flatteringly. Since you know who I am, you should know that I have retired long ago. Winnie said coldly, now my identity is just the chief auctioneer of the imperial capital. If you want to auction something, I'm very welcome. If you want me to kill someone for you, don't mention it again. Really? The man in black took out half a jade pendant from somewhere and shook it in front of Winnie. How about I use this jade pendant as the price for the assassination? After seeing this half jade pendant, Winnie's face suddenly became anxious. Where did you get this jade pendant? Promise to help me kill someone, and I will tell you the origin of this jade pendant. How about it? The man in black seemed to have Winnie in his hands. Winnie looked at the half jade pendant in the black clothed man's hand with entanglement. After a psychological struggle, she said coldly, I promise you, tell me who you want to kill. Straightforward. After the matter is done, I will definitely tell you the origin of the jade pendant. The black-clothed man smiled and said lightly, I hope you can fulfill your promise, otherwise I will let you know the consequences of deceiving me. Winnie threatened. How dare I deceive the king of assassins? Didn't you just do it? Winnie was unprecedentedly calm. Okay, tell me who you want to kill. Dante. Dante, the king of one word side by side? Winnie was slightly stunned. He only heard the news that Dante, the king of one word side by side, came to the imperial capital today, but he didn't expect that someone would hire someone to kill him that day. Yes, it's that kid. He is not easy to kill. Some people say that he has reached the level of demigod now. How old is he now? How can he reach the level of demigod? It must be someone else who spread rumors. The black-clothed man shook his head and didn't believe it at all. If it's him, the agreement between us will probably change. I will try my best to help you kill him once, but whether I can succeed or not is uncertain. How come the king of assassins is also afraid sometimes? This is not a question of fear or not. I only have one chance against a demigod level warrior. If I fail to kill him, it will be impossible to kill him again. The man in black hesitated for a moment before nodding. Yunfan naturally didn't know that he was now being targeted by the king of assassins, and this king of assassins was a very charming woman. That kid really likes to stir up trouble. He was retaliated just after arriving in the imperial capital. But who is that guy in black? Is he from the Steven family? He doesn't look like. Forget it, Dante. You'd better consider yourself unlucky. Why would I have a reason to kill you? Thinking of the half-jade pendant in the hand of the man in black, Winnie's eyes were full of expectations. Don't worry, even if I kill you, I will definitely avenge you. What Winnie hates most is being threatened by others. The man in black naturally didn't know that he was on Winnie's must-kill list because of threatening her. Yunfan had been wandering the streets of the imperial capital these days. Whenever he met someone who bullied the weak, he taught them a lesson. The nobles gnashed their teeth when they thought of Yunfan, wishing to bite him half to death. My men have found out some other news these days. His Majesty should have been imprisoned. He is not in any danger for the time being, Yunfan said to Averil. In the excited meeting room, someone asked excitedly, do you know where your father is imprisoned by them? If I'm not mistaken, His Majesty is imprisoned in the palace. Yunfan seemed to have thought of something and continued, well, there is another thing that I have to pay attention to. The Steven family is now cooperating with a weapons dealer. Are the people of the Steven family crazy? They actually cooperate with weapons dealers. In fact, the Steven family has long planned to overthrow the imperial family and become the royal family themselves. This time, they just happened to use the power of the water god temple. I don't know what position this water god temple can rank among the hidden forces. Avril couldn't help but get nervous when she heard this. Yunfan shook his head slightly and sighed slightly. At this time, the door of the room was knocked. What's the matter? Yunfan asked directly. There is a man dressed in black outside, saying that he is a grown-up. Someone outside the door reported. Do you know who that person is? Yunfan continued to ask. That person refused to say. The answer continued outside the door. Yunfan opened the door and walked out of the room, nodding to the person who reported to him. Please let that person in. Who on earth came to see me at this time? Yunfan was still quite curious about the identity of this man in black. The man in black was quickly led into the yard. Although the man in black had covered his whole body in black clothes, Yunfan still vaguely felt a familiar breath from this person. When the man pulled open his black clothes, Yunfan immediately recognized the other party's identity. It turns out to be Lord Rudolph. It has been 2 or 3 years since I last saw you. I wonder how you are doing now. I'm not as leisurely and comfortable as King Easy Bing Xiang. Rudolph sighed slightly. You have already learned a lot about the situation in the imperial capital. Can you tell me about your plan? To be honest, I really don't have any plans. You and His Majesty are good to me. I came here this time just to see if I can rescue you. Yunfan directly stated his original plan. Rudolph was slightly stunned. To be honest, he had guessed countless answers from Yunfan, but he never thought that Yunfan would answer like this. Lord Rudolph looks like he is not going to leave with me. Does His Majesty have other arrangements? Yunfan asked calmly. I'll tell you the truth. His Majesty sent me here to test your attitude and find out if you are still on our side. Otherwise, he can't rest assured to hand Princess Avril over to you. Now it seems that you haven't let us down. Rudolph said with appreciation. You really don't plan to leave with me? You know, with my current strength, basically no one can stop me from taking you away. At this time, Avril also came over. Grandpa Rudolph. Chapter 672. Multiple arrangements. Your Highness, it's been a long time since we last met. Rudolph bowed slightly. Long time no see. After Avril simply said hello, she asked anxiously, Grandpa Rudolph, can you tell me what my father is planning? I can't tell you what your majesty is planning for the time being, but I can tell you that once your majesty's plan succeeds, we can get back everything we lost. Rudolph said very seriously. Father, is what you want to do dangerous? Although Avril knew that Rudolph would not speak carelessly, she was still very worried. To be honest, it is a little dangerous, but your majesty has made a choice, so leave here with the king of Yezibingjian tomorrow. No, I won't leave. As long as my father is not out of danger, I won't leave here, Avril said firmly. Don't you think about your majesty at all? You know, you are his weakness to him. What if others catch you and force him to surrender? Rudolph said seriously. Avril was speechless by Rudolph's question. Promise me to do what his majesty ordered and leave here obediently. Grandpa Rudolph, can you let me think about it again? Avril seemed to be persuaded and hesitated. Of course, all the decisions are in your hands. Although Rudolph was a little hesitant, he did not force Avril to do anything. Yunfan nodded slightly. From the first time he met the Emperor of the Empire, he knew that the man was not simple. Now it seems that he still underestimated the monarch of the Empire, but he is more and more curious now. What he corrected and hid in secret. His Majesty asked me to tell you that thank you for muddying the water in the imperial capital. He will remember your kindness. Rudolph turned his head and said to Yunfan again. I will never leave here without confirming my father's safety. Avril gritted her teeth. Rudolph couldn't help but look at Avril. From her eyes, he could see a trace of relief, but more of helplessness. The little princess of the empire in front of him was too similar to his father's personality. Once he made up his mind, he would complete it no matter what. In the following period of time, Yunfan continued to do his own thing and wandered around the imperial capital. The people of the Stephen family were gnashing their teeth at this. This was another attempt to step on the Stephen family's face. In a large hotel in the imperial capital, a group of second-generation nobles of extraordinary status sat around a dining table, discussing this matter. We must not let that kid continue to be arrogant, otherwise where will our second-generation nobles of the imperial capital put their faces? I just don't know what Miss Stevens' plan is. I heard that she has been against your family. A second-generation noble who did not have a very harmonious relationship with the Stephen family smiled and mocked. Congratulations. The families of the two people have joined the hidden forces and received the protection of the hidden forces. The people of the two families dislike each other's people. There have been more than one small conflict. Although the Stephen family has won more than lost, the appearance of that person has disrupted the layout of many big figures. So I think it's better to wait and see. That person's personality is not too strong. As long as we don't provoke him, he generally won't do anything to us. These second-generation nobles in the imperial capital have different attitudes towards Yunfan. Some relatively weak nobles are happy to see these great nobles suffer losses. Even if they want to kneel and lick, they don't have the strength. Yunfan has a great reputation. It is not an exaggeration to call him legend of the empire. Although he respects Rudolph very much, Yunfan does not completely believe Rudolph's words. The imperial capital is now surging. He is thinking about when to go to the palace to meet the emperor. Just as he walked into an alley, Yunfan suddenly felt a lingering fear, as if a poisonous snake was staring at him. In the sea of consciousness, Sakadin said, "Be careful, there is something unusual here." Yunfan couldn't help but frown slightly, and was cautious. This is interesting, but I don't know which side it is. Yunfan looked calm, took out the magic sword from the space ring, and went directly to the depths of the woods not far away. You have been following me for so long, aren't you ready to come out? Suddenly, the purple power of lightning suddenly shot out from the depths of the dense forest. With a frown, the magic sword suddenly shot out with his mind, and with a piercing sound, it jumped over the big tree that blocked the way, and instantly stabbed the purple lightning that attacked. There was a series of sizzling sounds, and the magic sword in Ji Yunfan's hand could sense the surging power, which was mixed with the power of lightning. It seemed very hidden and swift. Even with Ji Yunfan's magic sword infused with the power of the world, it was still unable to break the opponent's designation at once. After a moment of contact, Ji Yunfan clearly felt something was wrong. This purple lightning actually had a paralyzing effect, which was a rare means of insidiousness. He quickly used his mind to drive the magic sword back to his palm. At this time, a woman dressed in a coquettish manner came out of the darkness, with infinite charm in her smile. Who is it? Ji Yunfan was also very cautious at this time. He held the magic sword tightly in his hand, and stared at the lightning wandering in the void. Sure enough, you are a legend of the Empire. Even my whereabouts can be easily discovered. The woman smiled and said lightly. Are you a killer? Ji Yunfan frowned slightly. Tell me, who sent you to kill me? I can let you go. Let me go. The king of one word is really confident. The woman's face showed an inexplicable smile. Who paid what price? To let you kill me? Ji Yunfan asked curiously. The woman in front of him was really strong. If he hadn't controlled a little bit of the law of fate, he might not have discovered her existence. This kind of person would have a high success rate, even if he assassinated an ordinary demigod. You just need to know that I have a reason to kill you. The woman combed her flowing hair and continued, and don't worry, after you die, I will kill that person too. Ji Yunfan was even more confused. Then what are you doing for? Chapter 673, Purple Lightning's second characteristic. You don't have much murderous aura. It seems like you haven't killed anyone for a long time. Ji Yunfan said, you can tell me your difficulties. Maybe I can help you. You just need to give your life to me obediently. Although the woman smiled indifferently, a serious cold light flashed. That won't work. Ji Yunfan shook his head slightly. I won't give my life to anyone, and I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do it. As he said that, Ji Yunfan suddenly moved forward and grabbed the purple longsword in the opponent's hand in midair. The surging purple lightning wanted to follow the longsword and rush towards Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan's mind moved slightly, and the purple lightning was actually caught in Ji Yunfan's hand, forming a purple electric ball. The woman's face suddenly changed. She didn't understand why her purple lightning power was easily captured by the opponent. This had never happened before. It seemed that she sensed Ji Yunfan's power. The woman didn't dare to stay, and turned around and fled quickly. Ji Yunfan looked at the woman who was fleeing quickly, and was slightly stunned. He never thought that this woman would be so decisive. Ji Yunfan naturally could not let her go so easily. He activated the world power in his body, and chased the woman in the direction of her escape. A purple figure fled in front, followed by a colorful figure. To be honest, this woman's speed was very fast, far exceeding the speed of ordinary demigods. Ji Yunfan became more and more curious about the identity of this woman. Why is this guy so fast? My second characteristic is speed, and ordinary demigods can be easily left behind by me. The woman complained in her heart while moving forward quickly. Ji Yunfan was also very surprised because he had never seen such a fast saint level master. This little girl is really talented. She has already comprehended the second characteristic of elemental power. Sakadin exclaimed. Second characteristic? Ji Yunfan's face also changed slightly. Sakadin, do you know what his second characteristic is? If I'm not mistaken, the second characteristic of the purple lightning power is extreme speed. As fast as lightning. No wonder. The more he knew about the woman who attacked him, the more he didn't want to let her go. He didn't want to be attacked again for no reason. Ji Yunfan directly used the power of the world to transform into a pair of wings. With the help of this pair of wings, Ji Yunfan's speed was further improved. Feeling that Ji Yunfan was getting closer and closer to her, the woman's face couldn't help but become more ugly. Her current speed had been increased to the extreme, and it was almost impossible to speed up again. What should I do? Fight this kid head on? Exclamation mark. How could this damn kid dare to sense my existence? At the same time, Ji Yunfan's speed increased again. When he was still dozens of meters away from the woman, Yunfan activated his semi-god domain. The woman was directly imprisoned in mid-air. She became nervous and showed an unprecedented expression. Yunfan stretched out his hand and pulled the woman, and the woman actually flew backwards. "Tell me your identity obediently, and who ordered you to assassinate me?" Yunfan asked in a cold tone. "I can tell you what you want to know, but you must promise to let me go." The woman gritted her teeth and said, "Okay, I promise you. My name is Winnie. I used to be a killer, but later I retired. Since you have retired, why did you come to kill me again? This matter has nothing to do with you." Yunfan nodded thoughtfully and did not continue to ask. "Who asked you to kill me?" "The old patriarch of the Bennett family." "The old patriarch of the Bennett family?" Yunfan was slightly stunned and thought for a moment. Then he remembered his entanglement with the Bennett family. 3 years ago, he killed little Bennett, and he didn't expect that the other party would come to take revenge 3 years later. "You let me go, and I will help you solve the Bennett family's affairs." At this time, the female killer named Winnie spoke again. "Isn't he your employer?" Yunfan was stunned for a moment, then looked at the female killer thoughtfully. The female killer in front of him might have some secrets known to the Bennett family. "Unless you swear in the name of the God of Creation, you will never do anything that is harmful to my interests," Yunfan said after careful consideration. "I promise you." After the female killer Winnie swore in the name of the God of Creation as Yunfan said, Yunfan let the female killer go. "You just let her go? This is not in line with your rules of conduct," Sakadin said. "What do you think I should do? Kill this female killer directly?" Yunfan asked back. "Do you really believe that what this female killer said is true?" Sakadin said. "I believe in my own judgment." After being released, the female killer stayed on the top of a giant tree, looking at the direction of Yunfan with lingering fear. "This Yeezy Bing Xiang Wang is really mysterious. He can capture me so easily. What I didn't expect the most is that he actually let me go so easily. What kind of person is he?" The female killer did not lie at all. The one who hired the murderer was the old patriarch of the Bennett family. When the man in black came to find Winnie, Winnie personally followed the man in black. At this time, she took out a jade pendant from her space ring. This jade pendant is almost exactly the same as the jade pendant that the man in black took when he came to find her that day. If you look closely, there is still a difference between the two jade pendants. The jade pendant held by the man in black has Irene written on it, while the jade pendant held by the female killer has Winnie written on it. "Sister, where are you? I will find you no matter what." It turned out that the female killer had a sister, but later her sister got lost. The jade pendant held by the man in black was her sister's personal belongings. The man in black used the news about her sister to force her to surrender. In order to know the news about her sister, she had to compromise. A cold light flashed in the eyes of the female killer, and then she flew towards the Bennett family. "Why are you here?" Old Bennett's face changed slightly after seeing the female killer. "I think you should know why I'm here. I have already taken action once." Chapter 674 Assassin's Temple. "Even you failed?" Old Bennett was obviously a little bit unbelievable. "Yes, I failed. That guy's method is too weird." Killer Winnie said lightly. "I have assassinated him as agreed. Now you can tell me what I want to know. You didn't kill that man, and you still want me to tell you about your sister. You are too optimistic." Old Bennett's eyes showed a trace of panic, but he quickly covered it up. "Unless you kill that man, otherwise, you don't want to know anything about your sister. Are you not letting me know, or you don't know at all?" Killer Winnie said expressionlessly. "What do you mean by this?" "I mean you don't know where my sister is." Killer Winnie said slowly. "How is it possible?" Old Bennett was obviously a little nervous. "Since you came to see me, I have conducted a series of investigations on you. There is no sign that you have seen my sister. But I'm very curious, where did the jade pendant in your hand come from?" Killer Winnie stretched out her hand and took the jade pendant from Old Bennett. "I told him." At this time, a voice sounded not far away. Killer Winnie was startled by the voice. She didn't even notice the existence of other people at such a close distance. Winnie couldn't help but look in that direction. Not far away, an old man in black looked at her dimly. "Is it you?" Killer Winnie couldn't help but reveal a trace of panic in her eyes. Yes, it's me. I haven't seen you for a long time, Winnie. The old man in black said dimly. It's really not easy to find you. Come back with me obediently. Absolutely impossible, Winnie said in a firm tone. You should know the consequences of betraying the Temple of Killers. As long as you come back with me obediently, I will forgive the past. The old man in black seemed to have decided on Killer Winnie. The beautiful Killer Winnie couldn't help but frown slightly. The old man in black in front of her was her former master. She learned all her killing skills from the man in black. Facing the man in black, she had no confidence at all. Winnie turned around and quickly began to flee. The old man in black naturally couldn't let Winnie go so easily, and he also flew up. One day, a woman covered in blood fainted in Yunfan's mansion. Yunfan took a closer look and found that this person was the beautiful Killer Winnie who assassinated him a few days ago. Yunfan arranged a room for Winnie, and after the Killer Winnie woke up, he asked, "What's going on? The Bennett family should not have the strength to do anything to you?" The beautiful Killer Winnie smiled bitterly. "Let me tell you a story. There used to be a big family called Alder. Legend has it that this big family has guarded a sacred artifact for generations. Because of the existence of this legend, the Alder family has been coveted by many forces. One day, a disaster struck from the sky, and a group of men in black directly killed into the Alder family. At that time, the patriarch of the Alder family had 2 daughters. What you mean is that you are the eldest daughter of the patriarch of the Alder family. Later, you were adopted by the Killer Temple and became a killer. In order to find your sister, you left the Killer Temple 3 years ago. Old Bennett has your sister's identity jade card on him. She used the news about your sister to threaten you, right?" Yunfan said. "Yes, I've long been tired of the life of an assassin. If it weren't for the news about my sister, I would never come to kill you. After you let me go, I went to the Bennett family. Who knew that I met Amelia Frederick, the teacher of the Assassin Temple, there?" After listening to the female assassin's narration, Yunfan nodded slightly. "You stay here for a while." What Yunfan didn't expect was that the old man from the Assassin Temple actually came to his door the next day. "Old man, it's probably not good to arrest my guests without the consent of my master." Yunfan looked at the old man who came to kill him silently. "You are Dante, the king of one word. I advise you to mind your own business." The old man in black said grimly. "What if I don't have any other hobbies, but I like to meddle in other people's business?" Yunfan said with an evil smile. "Then don't blame me for being ruthless." The old man in black laughed and then took out a large black banner directly from the space ring. Instantly, gusts of cold wind came from the big banner, and thousands of dead spirits condensed into something like a magic array, attacking Yunfan. The death energy released by the black-clothed old man's banner gradually increased, and the power became stronger and stronger. Seeing the dead spirit rolling away, the old man in black was secretly pleased in his heart, and suddenly activated the magic array, swallowing heaven magic array in the big banner again. This dead spirit banner has reached the level of a lower artifact. It was the trophy obtained from the god of the dead when the god of assassins plotted against the god of the dead. If the god of the dead had not been deceived by the god of assassins, the god of assassins would not have been able to kill the god of the dead. When the god of the dead was fighting against the enemy, if others sent out weapons, he only needed to activate the dead spirit banner to release the dead spirit energy that could pollute everything. The opponent's weapon was immediately suppressed. Even the power of the gods can suppress it, but this old man in black does not have such a strong strength. As a demigod, he can only activate the 3rd level of power, which is the limit. The fact that he was rewarded with this artifact by the god of assassins shows that the identity of this old man in black is definitely not simple. Amidst the howling of ghosts and gods, a piece of filthy death rushed out of the undead banner, which was dozens of acres in size, and condensed into an evil ghost head. Then the evil ghost head opened its mouth. The elemental forces from all directions could not help but fly into the mouth of the evil ghost head, like a whale sucking water. The evil ghost head suddenly gained huge power, and its power became even stronger. Now there are more than 90,000 dead souls in the entire undead banner, close to 100,000, plus the power of various mixed elemental forces has increased by nearly 1-fold. When it is activated, the entire undead banner seems to form a field. Wherever covered by this field, people can't help but feel depressed. The void around the evil ghost's head was twisted, as if it would collapse at any moment. Now I'll give you one last chance. Hand over Winnie. Chapter 675. The other party is concerned. HMPH. What if I don't hand it over? At this moment, Yunfan suddenly snorted coldly and opened his hand. Suddenly, a very strange power spread from his body. Colorful stars appeared above his head, just like the stars in the sky, instantly isolating the spirit of death. I can't suppress your power. The man in black was slightly surprised. This was the first time he encountered such a situation. You are really weird. No wonder people from other hidden forces don't want to make things too awkward with you. The old man in black saw the special momentum erupting from Yunfan and knew that he was very powerful. Yunfan suddenly pushed the power and exerted his domain to the extreme. Suddenly, the elemental power within a radius of 50 or 60 miles was all blocked there, and the whole world seemed to solidify. The magic circle in the dead banner could not be operated. It was forced to stop rotating, which made the old man in black feel uncomfortable. Fortunately, the old man in black was not weak in strength, so he was not injured by the backlash. The old man in black naturally couldn't give up, and directly attracted the dead spirits in the dead spirit banner. Those dead spirits came out like ferocious demons, and nearly 100,000 dead spirits covered the sky. Yunfan's domain power and the black-clothed old man's dead spirit power were intertwined. Perfect world, void domain, cut. Seeing the black-clothed old man's dead spirit power surging fiercely, Yunfan knew that the black-clothed old man in front of him was very powerful and a very difficult character. In terms of energy quantity, he was still above himself, but he was not bad at all. The perfect domain attribute could almost restrain all forces, one by quantity and the other by quality. Yunfan used all the world power on his body, constantly arranging, combining, and evolving, turning into subtle divine patterns, and then changing again, forming a sky-wide sawtooth ripple, cutting away. His world power, perfect domain, has the ability to copy most characteristics. He directly used the world power to simulate the space-tearing force. The powerful tearing force made the man in black feel a huge pressure. In fact, this void-cutting technique can be said to be an advanced use of the space field, involving the laws of space. Yunfan is not using the complete void-cutting technique now, but just simulating it, but its power is not weaker than the real void-cutting technique. Even the gods who specialize in space element find it difficult to do this. Yunfan is now using the power of the world, which includes everything. The simulated void-cutting technique is extremely powerful, and his body is extremely powerful. He can exert all his strength without any scruples, and does not need to spare any strength to protect himself. This is the benefit of the body reaching the artifact level. The simulated space lines in the sky cut into the undead banner without any tricks. The 100,000 undead flying around let out a painful scream. The undead banner was actually cut into cracks, and the undead spirits on it were scattered and splashed everywhere. It seemed to have encountered some pain, and shrank back upwards. Looking at the cracks on the undead banner, the black-clothed old man's face suddenly changed. You are actually a demigod of the space system. At the same time, the black-clothed old man shook the undead banner in his hand violently and forcibly opened the second seal in the undead banner. The moment the second seal was opened, Yunfan's world power was actually repelled back. For a moment, the air around the undead banner resumed flowing, and the spirit of the dead emanated. This guy from the assassin temple is really capable, and that undead artifact is probably already at the level of mid-level artifact. If it exerts all its power, But in this world, the suppression of the world's laws can't exert its full power at all. You must grab it. Sakurdin was very interested in the undead banner in the hands of the black-clothed old man. He was thinking of a bad idea to instigate Yunfan. Feeling the world power being repelled, Yunfan still had no expression on his face, and even stood up and walked forward. It was seen that the spirit of the dead was quickly disintegrated. After touching Yunfan's body, the spirit of the dead instantly disintegrated, and the banner of the dead could not help but tremble. The face of the old man in black suddenly changed, and he felt that the banner of the dead gave him a very scary feeling. The old man in black spit out a mouthful of blood with a look of disbelief on his face. This guy is so powerful. He can actually make the banner of the dead feel terrified. The old man in black found that he could not activate the banner of the dead no matter what, and he could not help but be shocked. What is going on? Anyone who reaches a level of a divine weapon will generally form a primary consciousness, so each divine weapon has its own characteristics. Just like Yunfan once got the Daoluo sword of the sword god, the characteristic of the Daoluo sword is to kill the destruction clan. This characteristic is often related to the user's emotions and thoughts, and needs to be cultivated slowly and subtly. The old man in black ignored the fear fed back to him by the banner of the dead, and forcibly opened the third seal of the banner of the dead. The whole undead banner hummed, and a series of extremely dark ripples appeared in the air around it. In just one breath, it appeared on the edge of the black-clothed old man's body. At this moment, the whole world seemed to be shrouded in darkness. Vicissitudes of life came from all directions. Feeling this momentum, Yunfan's heart moved. This power comes from the pressure of this world. The old man in black forcibly opened the third seal of the undead banner, which was beyond the tolerance of this world. If he didn't stop, he would inevitably be backlashed by the world. In fact, the reason why the undead banner conveyed a message of fear to the old man in black was because he felt the pressure of this world from Yunfan. Because of the existence of the world crystal, Yunfan and the whole world are inseparable. The consciousness of the artifact is the most sensitive. It feels the aura that once suppressed it from Yunfan. The world crystal in Yunfan's sea of consciousness has begun to tremble, and an eternal voice seems to sound in his heart. Do you choose to suppress it by force? Exclamation mark. Suppress. Yunfan directly transmitted his thoughts to the world crystal in the sea of consciousness. A golden projection suddenly appeared in the air. The projection seemed a little blurry, and it was impossible to recognize the projection's appearance. Only from its shape, it could be seen that the figure was extremely domineering. The golden projection was holding a golden sledgehammer and suddenly smashed towards the undead banner. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.